Welcome to the latest episode of Platform Podcast. Today's guest is Michael Kraft.
And so I stopped chewing, I put it on the other half, I texted my partner and said, hey, are these the right gummies? No, they are not. And then I was like, can I make myself throw up? Because I'm about to go to space, and I was also supposed to go skate.
I remember Michael Kraft years ago when he was riding around in shadows with excessively long K2 frames. He used to make videos called the Buddy Tour with Ian Kopp. In fact, they still make videos together, documenting their Vermont trips, going to San Francisco, things like that. They also had Mike Torres enlisted every once in a while. He would appear in their videos. Most recently, he's probably the most well-known for appearing in the Basement video, Zephyr 4.0. I think it's 4.0. One of their park videos where he just does a load of mind-bending stuff on ledges and weird switch-ups that no one's ever thought of and combos that would just break most people in two. If you watch Jumbo, you'll also be familiar with Michael Kraft because he appears in a bunch of those. He'll randomly just show up at the session and start doing the hardest, weirdest, most complicated thing. And it's quite funny that the guys in the video are equally as confused and dumbfounded as the people watching at home. Oh my God. There's also cause for celebration because just recently, Michael Kraft got a pro frame with T-neck. It is a beautiful green frame, and by the looks of things, it goes very well with the Basement Them skate. It also goes very well with white skates. I've now got a newfound love for a white skate, so could be adding that into my arsenal sometime soon. There's loads to talk about. He comes from El Paso originally, but now lives in Austin, I think. And El Paso is home to one of my favorite bands of all time, At the Drive-In, who later morphed into the Mars Volta. And he's just quite an interesting guy. He makes music on his own that he won't really tell anyone about or share his SoundCloud or anything like that. But yeah, it's out there if you can find it. And he's got quite just a refreshing take on everything. If you follow him on social media, he's regularly putting up stuff that's just weird or funny, or I'm pretty sure it was him that came up with a kind of viral meme of the Danny Beer skate by putting beans in it. And he's just had another few quirky videos on there where he reviews skates but doesn't really review them. He just kind of does a parody of it. And he just seems like a really funny, interesting guy. Can't wait to find out more about him. Before all that, though, cue the music. The platform. The platform. The platform. The platform. Oh, there we go.
Yes. We did it.
I'm genuinely shocked that worked so well because I'm using this is the first time I've done a Zoom call on this laptop, and I was like, am I going to be the one that screws this up this time, or is the other person? Yeah.
We can do this a couple times and then cut together all of the best podcasts.
That's it. I mean, it's pretty rare for two guys to have a podcast, so I'm sure people just eat it up. I mean, how often do you just see two fully grown men talking in a podcast? Almost never.
Yeah, the world will come running to hear it.
Exactly.
I was going to download a sound effects board and have a bunch of laughter for every time one of us made a dumb joke. Basically be as obnoxious as possible.
Okay.
But Olivia talked me out of it, so
that's a source of my partner freaks out whenever there's canned laughter on TV. She's like, why do they have to put that in there? We're not stupid. People know when to laugh, and if it's funny, we will. You don't need to assist us. And
yet, when you watch a skate clip, when you hear people cheering in the background, it gives it an oomph that it didn't have before. So it does do something to hear these sort of primal reactions to it. But yeah, the canned laughter, we're all pretty used to it. Anyway, let's not use any of this for the podcast.
That does also raise a point though, because I've noted like sometimes when you see a second angle of a skate clip and the first angle will have cheering in it and the second angle won't, and you're like, oh, you guys stayed there for another half an hour to film that, didn't you? And it's like, no one cares anymore.
I mean, it's so easy to copy and paste that.
Yeah, but it's quite telling. There was something I seen recently, and yeah, the second angle of the same trick just had no cheering in it, and I was like, oh, you guys definitely stayed there to get that. Yeah.
Do people ever tell you that their parasocial relationship with you as an internet persona overshadows your actual existence as a person? Because I feel a little bit like I'm watching your show right now, even though I'm interacting with you.
Okay.
So it's a pretty strange. I'm having a strange relationship with your image on my screen right now.
Right. I bumped into I'm going to butcher his second name, Zach Pollock. Zach Pollock.
Yeah.
Pollack. I even asked him how to pronounce his name, and I'm quite, because I always go to like Jackson Pollock. But yeah, I saw him at Winter Clash, and he like freaked out when he saw me, and he was like, "You don't look." He's like, "You don't look like I'm used to you looking, like how I'm like used to see." And then I started talking to him. He's like, "You sound different as well." He's like, "I can't handle this." He's like, "You don't sound like the like idea I have in my head." And it was just, yeah, it was pretty funny. I think I was like wearing a beanie or something, and I'd probably had a few beers as well. And he was just like, "You don't like." He's like, "This isn't. There's something about this that isn't matching what I'm used to seeing in the videos." And he's like, "Yeah, that was pretty funny." I have had that.
Audio editing on this?
No, but just then I guess there's a difference between like talking into a microphone and talking in like real life. I guess it kind of it obviously does something.
Also will change the pitch of, you know, a close low mic will get you a nice deeper.
That's it. When I'm out in the real world, I've got this really high pitched, squeaky Pee Wee Herman voice. What the hell is?
What was that?
That I've never seen that before. That must be like a new feature of either.
Wait, what? Repeat what you just said. Squeaky Pee Wee Herman.
Squeaky Pee Wee Herman. Oh no, is it because I raised my thumb?
I don't know if you did.
So yeah,
the first haunted podcast.
Or I've just had people at the local skate park, like with skateboards, come up to me and be like, "You're that guy off YouTube," and I'm like, "Why are you watching?"
Yeah, I'm one of three guys off YouTube. Yeah.
So this is it. So now we can just have a show together, and we don't have to call it platform anymore. We can call it Spectacles Squared.
Yeah, we'll put that on the maybe table.
Right. Well, you can come up with a title. I've you know, I'm not the ideas guy. You can be the creative force behind it. First things first, congratulations on your new frame. It's now official. It's not the full batch is out now, isn't it? It's not just because there was like the small batch at first, and now
yeah, we had some flown over. I wanted them to kind of come out alongside some of the skate releases that were coming out in November. I thought they paired pretty well with some skates, and I thought it'd be cool if people could like buy them at the same time they're maybe getting their skates.
Tactical. I like it. I
thought it would be nice.
That showcases quite a lot more business ingenuity than 99.5% of rollerbladers.
Oh, well, thank you. And then we raided the rest by boat, and no, they're all here and they're selling. It's cool. It's
so I was about to say, so have you bankrupted is it Duran Bickmore? Is that his name?
Duran, I believe.
Duran Bickmore. Have you bankrupted him yet, or are they selling well? Yeah, that was going to be my next question.
Yeah, as far as I haven't got any like threatening text messages or anything yet. So,
right.
No, I think it's doing all right. They're moving. People tag me in them a lot. It's really cool to see.
Okay. What I'm curious to know what skate releases you thought it would go with, or like you.
I thought they would pair really well with the base stem skate, and I was right. And
they do. The photos you've been sharing of those, I was like, whoa! I was like, I did not realize pink and green would work, but there you go.
Yeah. There's something about the tone or the hue that they just work well together. Even though the skates were a little more like salmon than like bubblegum in person. I feel like the pink was a little different in the photos.
It's quite, there's been kind of like a semi backlash to it, being like, oh, them are releasing another disturbing color. And I'm like, it's quite, I would say it's quite understated. It's got a kind of pastel pink
sure.
look to it. I would say it looks quite modest, but yeah.
Compared to like the blue and white swirlies.
Don't even get me started on your skate collection. Don't let, we'll get into that in a minute. Oh God, it's like a little house of horrors.
I cleaned it up actually for you, so you should have seen it before this.
There is no amount of cleaning you can do to those colors that's going to make me like them more. Yeah, I saw it like paired up with white skates as well, and I thought it would look good. I think it would look good with like either white 909s or like the standard Omni that seems to be about to be coming out really soon. That could work, white and green, yeah. But
I photoshopped all of these on my phone already to see which ones work, and the answer is literally all of them.
Right, okay.
Including the new Nils purple. It looks so good with the purple. I don't know what to tell you. Looks great.
Right.
Also, maybe I can pull it up on my phone.
I thought green and purple would have a kind of like Joker vibe to it or something. Or is it Joker? Green and purple?
I think the old Joker is.
Right.
Oh, I didn't. So I don't have that one on me. I think I deleted that one. But then this other one, beautiful.
I don't know that any frame looks good on that skate, but yeah.
Wow, you hate color. What is your what do you what kind of skates do you ride?
I'm a disturbed goth in my heart. In my heart, I have a comb over right all the way down here, covering one eye. I only listen to Jimmy Eat World, and I just want to be alone in a corner. Yeah, that's it.
Run this entire video through an Instagram filter and give you a nice emo swoop for the entirety.
There's a photo of my girlfriend like sitting next to me with her hair over me, and I'm like, this is the look I was meant to have. This, yeah. Fair enough.
I should be here right now. I would really appreciate it if you'd call her over and put her hair over yours.
She's currently tending to her daughter, so she's incapacitated. I'll try and find the photo though. It's incriminating. Let's put it that way. So I'm quite surprised. I'm quite surprised that you went for such a neutral, easy to love color, because if anyone who's seen your recent Jumbo episode, you claim to hate white skates because of the Lookdown, yet in your recent skate collection you've owned the bloody traffic cone orange them skates, which are an abomination as far as I'm concerned, and then you managed to level up by going for the kind of vomity, poo, swirly, upsetting night after a night out, the Weekend and them skates collaboration. How is white bad, but those colors are acceptable? Those colors are like, how can you not look down at those and get dizzy?
It could be that I just haven't skated white skates in so long that looking down at them is like just so foreign feeling, and maybe it's a thing I would get used to if I continue to skate them. But a couple of years ago, I bought a pair of the whites and I skated them one time at the skate park, and I gave them to Nay because I just couldn't do it. I don't know. And maybe I'd get used to it. But they're so bright, and they're bright in a way that I didn't find them fun to look at. Whereas the orange skates, I love to look down at. And I also think that as like they're eye-catching in videos in a way that like I think a lot of the clips I got in those skates were really like small technical foot focus thing, and it really helped like keep your eyes on the skates. So I thought they were useful in addition to just being a cool color. I like the neon orange color.
So what you're saying is you're trying to be an influencer, and you thought that this was giving you the unique selling point. This was it.
No,
because you leaned into it because you were wearing the construction jacket as well. You were wearing the construction vest.
that was one clip, and that was sort of a joke. I didn't know that clip was going to go viral either. I didn't plan that.
Okay. I feel like you. Well, now I was.
You don't believe me, but
now I'm starting to think that everything you do is a plan. You planned the product release times. You planned this with the orange jacket. You planned the Danny Beer beans in the skate thing. I think you're just a viral marketing genius. I think that's what's happening here.
Okay, I didn't plan the beans. I had that idea I think a few days before they arrived, and then I did it, and then it took off, and it ruined my life for several months.
Once you get the train going, you're not in charge of where it goes. You're just
So I've learned.
once
Yeah.
you set it off, yeah, that they ran with the internet ran with that for a while. Oh my god. Every time someone like put up like a marble, they put up like a marble worktop or a marble effect, anything, and like tagging Danny Beer in it. And I was like, this is painful. I was like, I can't even imagine what Danny feels like. Just like, I wonder if they think, thank God this is getting so much attention, even if it's like mocking it. It's great marketing because
Yeah.
the skate is in people's like the forefront of their mind. But then I also wonder if like because I got bored of it really quickly. So I imagine he must have been like, oh, just give it a rest already. Like this is
Are you referring to
just in
Marvel?
general, not just the being like just the fact that everyone just latched on to like either the clear skate or the kind of like marble effect liner shining through it. So literally it'd be like they'd be like tagging dogs and like tagging Danny Beer in it or like tagging like weird sports cars with a marble effect on it. And I was like, he must wake up every day to like 100 of these tags and be like this needs to stop.
I I imagine that was the case because I woke up to hundreds of bean tags and like images. I still get them. I'm in a group chat where they still make bean jokes and will like, tag me in the okay, I'll pull this up. I got this fairly recently and it's in the same folder, which is the only I saw it on the way to find that other skate. So someone
I've seen I've seen it because it's Stuart Kelly. He's in that Slacks group or whatever it's called. Yeah. Um, but I think the thing is, with Danny, at least he can be like, well, this means they're going to sell, so I'm going to get the payday. Whereas you literally get zero benefit from it. You just get the hassle.
yeah. Well, I got lunch, so
This
I
is
ate
true. This is true.
I didn't eat the beans. Yeah, but that so
Wait a
just
minute.
like
You wasted food.
no, I did not.
Oh, okay.
I've
I mean,
never done anything,
it either
including
has
my
to
work.
be either have to use it for sploshing in a sexual act, or you have to eat it, but you can't waste it.
That was splashing. What are you talking about?
It basically is.
Did you hear this? I never posted the video after it went viral because one, I'm embarrassed to even be talking about it still. Two, it feels fresh. So because Tree just had a section where he started the section by doing the beam thing and then doing a frontside in a P rail. I don't know if you saw that
Is
yet,
that in the
but
new? What's it called? Oh,
big budget.
that's it. Big budget. Yeah, yeah.
So the beams are alive still, it turns out.
Right. Okay.
But I'm now embarrassed that we've spent so long talking about it. I would love to cut all of that out. And if not, I would love to segue into something else.
Right. Right. Let's segue into the easiest question in this podcast. Well, it's either going to be the easiest question or it's going to be the one that ends it straight away. I know you're originally from El Paso. What is the best musical act to come out of El Paso? And there is a correct and a wrong answer. So think about this very carefully.
So based on your reactions to all of my personal preferences, I'm going to assume that you think At the Drive-In is the correct answer.
I don't think.
You know,
Choose your words carefully here, Michael.
I love them both. I love them both for different reasons.
You're going to say Mars Volta, aren't you?
The first Mars Volta album is perfect. It's so good. At the Drive-In had a lot of really good songs. I actually never listened to their 2017 release. Did you?
Oh, no. Oh, what was the one that had like all the world music influences? I couldn't do it. Or was that Mars Volta? One of them released something not too long ago, and I'd listened to like half of a track and went, "Can't do this. Nope, 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 nope."
So the Mars Volta released an album last year, I think, or maybe it was this year. But I thought it was like weird that it was a Mars Volta album. If they've had like so many side projects, it's weird that they would have called that particular collection of songs the Mars Volta. But really like down tempo, kind of like slower rock album. But yeah, with like a lot of Latin percussion, which is like typical of all of their other side stuff. So that wasn't surprising to me. But I didn't listen to the At the Drive-In 2017 album. I didn't feel like I needed it. And after they reunited and I finally got to like see them live, it was I felt like I closed the book. I haven't really listened to that band in a long time.
It's very rare for a band to reunite and release anything that that captures, especially if it was a band you're into as a teenager or as a young adult, because that music just is so much more affecting to you, especially how like, you know, all these kind of like emotions you're feeling growing up and like insecurities, and you feel like these things like channel into like, whereas when you're an adult, and especially when you've heard so much music over the decades, and then a band that you have this like fond memory of try to come back and you're like, oh, don't do that, nope, just play the old stuff.
It's often best in your memory.
Yes,
which is the same for like many skate videos, lots of TV shows, movies. They're all sort of best. You can access them now, but I don't know if you need to. I tried showing Olivia the Fresh Prince of Bel Air the other day because she'd never seen it before. Which one? She knew all the words to the theme song, but had no visual reference for that television intro, which I had never even considered as a possibility that someone could like have a singular experience with that wasn't directly connected to the show. And then I showed her the show, and she was like, she kept yelling, "He's a grown man," because she thought he was like 9 years old. Because lyrically, he's like, "I was at the playground, up to no good," or whatever. And she's like, "Oh, this is a child."
Unless you see the visuals to go with it, it's really easy to come to a different conclusion. Yeah.
Two, what I was going to say, which was also related to skate videos being bad, in the past videos, was I had such a good segue into it, and then I decided to go with the Fresh Prince bit, and now here we are. I blew it again. I was
Wait a minute. How had she never seen Fresh Prince of Bel Air though?
She grew up on an island, so she didn't have a lot of the normal TV access that that other people not on the island did. And then also just like a weird sort of not weird, very sweet, but like an unusual family situation. Her dad was a marine biologist, and like they just spent a lot of time like studying fish together. So Olivia's really into animals.
This sounds like something off like a Disney Channel TV.
I know, and I want to tell you more.
She lived on an island. Her dad was a marine biologist. Like, is she like the real life Barbie? Like, what is like Malibu Barbie? Like, what is happening here?
She's some version of Malibu Barbie. Yeah. There's so many more interesting things about that, but I don't want to reveal too much. And like, but no, I can't. I'm going to change the subject again. I'm going to talk about how bad old skate videos are, unless you have something else.
I do know where you're coming from, that because there's obviously like a selection of people out there who've got nostalgia for that and like collect the DVDs and the VODs. And actually, Jason Adriani messaged me the other week saying, "Oh, have you seen this old Irish one?" Because obviously Ireland's right next to Scotland. And I was like, "Yes, I have." And like he's like, "Oh, I can send you the file if you want." And I was like, "No, I'm good." Like I loved like video grooves and stuff like that growing up, but then when you try to watch them back, you're like, I don't remember the skating being this slow. You're like, I'm like, in my mind, he was like charging at that, and now you watch it and you're like, everyone's going so, because they're all in like anti-rocker and like crappy little bearings and like skates that aren't fit for purpose. Yeah, and I was like, this is really slow. Or like they do a switch up and don't slide in the switch up, and you're just like, why do I remember this being entirely different? I can't do it. I can't watch old skate videos.
I watched Words recently, and I was watching the Dustin Latimer part, and I was like, he didn't like, some of these seem just like accidents that he kept in, and he didn't like land the trick a couple of times. As a kid, I had no idea, but watching it now, I'm like, oh, you didn't even do the thing you were trying to do, but you kept it in anyway. It felt cheap in a way that I didn't like my nostalgia feeling, you know?
Okay. I have a controversial view about Brain Fear Gone that often gets me shouted at when we have discussions with people about this. I don't really understand John Elliott's inclusion in that video, and don't overly rate John Elliott as a skater. Whenever he lands a gap, he almost always puts his hand down,
Yeah, he
like as
does.
in
He
slaps the ground to the point where if any other skater did that, you'd be like, no, do that again. He also had a very limited trick vocabulary that basically consisted of torque slides and sunny days and machios
X grinds. Yeah,
and X grinds. I get that he was creative, and in Wasteland he like basically rolls a handrail. I was like, that's meant that like that's insane. Like he rolls a square rail that's that stuff like that element of his skating I get, but the actual kind of bare bones traditional aggressive aspects of it, I'm like, wasn't that great at it.
I would say that I can agree. Yeah, I see where you're coming from. I would say that he looks cool, and that's an important part of it. And when I watched that John Elliott part, I thought he looked really cool. He had the button down, he was really stylish, and that alone was like, I if you're selling things, if you're selling wheels or whatever, you want people to want to emulate you, right? You like want to look
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
And I think he had the cool factor, even if he didn't have the like wow factor. But also, yeah, I don't know. It's a different time. Also, anybody can start a company and include their friends. Like it's
Yeah. Well, but it was a Shane Coburn and Dustin Latimer company, so I don't really feel like he did get in on the friends card. And if he did, it would probably have been through Brian Shima. But like, I do understand what you mean, the packaging 100%, because I remember when Jeff Stockwell just used to skate around in baggy t-shirts and jeans and look like every other skater, I was like, I've got zero interest in you. And then when he changed his entire and basically gave himself this like rock and roll persona image, I was like, yo, like, look, why have I just noticed how good you are at everything?
yeah. Well,
Because
it also
he was always that good.
yeah. Well, I do think it got a little more refined. The
Oh,
like VG
obviously, but it obviously, like he definitely progressed in his trick and vocabulary and execution. But the fact is, he was always very good on skates. He just looked like every other skater, so there was no reason to really like focus in on him until that happened.
yeah. Then he became like an icon. He like basically at least was one of the people who was responsible for the switch, like the sort of like generalized switch from baggy to tight pants.
He was a little bit later, but yeah, I'd say like forever now and like Micah Yeager, Texas Micah Yeager and like all that kind of wave was very much like leading that charge. But yeah, definitely.
I feel like Jeff Stockwell got the most like I think he got like furthest with it. I felt like he was a more ubiquitous name than no disrespect to Micah, whose skating I love and whose influence is understated, but yeah, I feel like Jeff got the furthest as sort of like I think he'll be a name that is I don't know, but Micah will too. I wish that you had given me every question and thought you had to say so I could
you do know that none of these questions are written down. These are happening in my brain. So
but I wish that they weren't so I could give you thoughtful answers to all of them.
Okay. I feel like Micah, and I'm sure he's well aware of this as well, Micah was the fact Jeff just played the game better. Jeff like he knew when to be quiet and just do his job, whereas Micah was very like much speak his mind, confrontational. Like I think he like quit 3 brands in the time he was in Bladen because he was on Razors and he quit them because he wasn't happy. Then he quit Salomon and then he was on USD for a bit. And I feel like he just wasn't willing. He wasn't willing to like dilute himself or compromise himself or just be quiet. Essentially, I feel like Micah was like, no, if I'm not happy, I'm just not doing it.
Yeah,
which is admirable and it gives him a lot of like credibility. But yes, he will. I feel like it will definitely affect him being remembered as much as those other people.
Yeah, Jeff also had Carl Sturgis behind him, who at the time was making the sort of top videos of the like mid 2000s.
They were the ultimate combo, and I feel like that was the first rollerblader that had his own like personal filmer.
Oh yeah,
like the sections they made together, unreal.
Yeah, no, yeah, I think of those two as like a combo deal, like that they're interlocked in my mind.
Yeah. And it's quite funny that since that time, you can regularly think of like iconic skaters and then attach filmers to them. That, like, for example, you've got like the Alex Brosco and Adam Johnson, like think like all those early KFC videos that basically kind of like started his legacy and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, there's definitely a piece of that. Before we move on talking about your frame, I wanted to ask you about this. So, as someone who now has their signature product, what is your view on people getting pro products, or like what criteria do you think? Do in your head, do you have like a thing where you're like, why is that person getting a pro skate, or like, I don't think they should get a like pro wheel, or like, do you ever like think like that, or are you just like, no, that's great, that's cool, like happy for them?
I don't have an easy answer for that, because I do see several sides of it, which are like,
I don't like easy answers, so that's good. I don't want an
yeah,
easy
I mean,
answer.
I don't think there is an easy answer to it, because there's a sort of, and there's an aspect of it that I don't even want to talk about, because talking about it sort of infringes on some of the other aspects. Or
My conflict that used to lie with it was I was always, because we grew up in the 90s and you had like rollerblading icons, you had like iconic pros who made this kind of mysterious, because you didn't know them that well. There wasn't social media. Your only interaction with them was when they appeared in the front covers of magazines, or they appeared in like huge videos. And it felt like their name sold. So for the longest time, I was like, well, why is that person? That name's not going to sell a product. Like, they're not marketable. But now, in recent years, I'm of the opinion that the product will kind of sell itself anyway, and that maybe there's just an element of the company wanting to support that rider, and that it doesn't really matter what name is on the skate, as long as it's a skate that is appealing to people, or a frame or a wheel or whatever. Because I've had this debate with people who are like, oh, we should be giving more women products. And they're like, why? Women don't sell. And I'm like, yeah, but if the product's good enough, it's going to sell anyway. So why shouldn't that product have a woman's name on it? The money go to a woman, and it have more representation in the sport, and other women see it and go, oh, it's actually possible to get something. I'm going to pursue this. Because if it's a white skate or a gray skate or a black skate, it's going to sell anyway. Why not just shove a woman's name on there and see what happens? And it might develop into something, as opposed to keep giving these same people like pro products over and over, and it doesn't do anything.
Yeah. So I had there was a contest in Dallas a few weeks ago, the Carriers Open, and
never heard of it. Is that like a new comp? Is that like a little local amateur thing? Just a few guys showed up, right? No one international. No one.
Yeah, no one. Not no one some of the best in the world showing up. No. It was, yeah, small little thing, just a couple of people. But yeah, so people were like, so I brought my frame and I put it on the jumbo table just to sort of like, I think it looks really good in the sun, and I think it looks better in person than it does in photos. It's hard to capture the sort of details of the pour, and like sort of the swirling colors in it, that it's just hard to do justice by photo. So I brought a frame with me, just left it on the table. And then several people were like, so are you a pro skater? And then there were beginners there, and like people who were like, well, it's my first time at a contest. And I had to answer if I was a like pro skater or not, to which my answer is no. I don't think of myself as a pro skater. I don't think that I am. And a sort of like, the question itself, it like makes me feel fraudulent even having to answer that, because I feel so strongly that I'm not a pro skater. But I am making a royalty off my frame. I am making money technically. But I think we would all agree, the reason I'm bringing this up is not to specifically talk about myself, but the sort of like general agreement on what a pro skater is, even though like most pro skaters I think are probably, I can think of a handful who are maybe making like a real, like that's their only job. And sorry, I'm all over the place today.
I mean, this
Yeah,
is the point. I'm trying to challenge you. I don't want the answers to come easy to you.
no. But my problem is my brain is always going in several directions at once, because I'm not a medicated ADHD person. So I'm just fighting my own several monologues that are all grabbing different directions. I don't think of myself as a pro skater, but I do have a product now. Does that make me pro? I don't think so. I'm making money, so technically, yes, I am like earning some royalties from the frame. Thank you, Duran, the New Everything Company. But in these conversations, because people were like, "You absolutely are. You have like hard goods with your name on them or whatever." That's so there's a sort of social understanding of what a pro skater is, right? Like I think we would all agree that like I don't. There's so many ways to talk about this. I'm so sorry that this is.
It's because there are like you're on the stance where you're like, just because I've got my name on a product doesn't make me pro. But I guarantee you there are people out there who've literally just had a wheel for some no-name company or a frame for some like minor manufacturer, and I guarantee they're also going around going, "Oh, I'm a pro skater."
Yeah, I feel like there's a sort of like unspoken like there's like a qualitative aspect to like there's like a skill level involved. There's like I'm sure we could break this down by graph, but like I'm not a like traditionally I'm not skating drop rails. I'm almost never skating handicap rails. I'll skate a down rail every once in a while. That's not what I love to do. And I feel like historically people who are pro skaters have like proven themselves on all those on sort of wide array of terrains.
Yeah.
And I have not made the effort to do so. And I would say most rollerbladers have not heard of me. I feel like there's a sort of like social like capital aspect to being a pro skater, like where everyone's sort of like, oh, definitely that person is a pro skater. Whereas like you could start like a skate company tomorrow and you could put your friend like Dave on and Dave could be a pro skater, but would he be a pro? I think that there's a sort of like
I live in hope. If you guys are listening, if you guys are I do know what you mean. Yeah. Because there's like a tier list, isn't there? There's people that you're like, wow, you're kind of pro in every sense of the word. Like if you show up at competition, you're going to be in the final or the top 3 or the top 5 or whatever. Or like if your name appears next to a video or an edit, people are going to watch it because they're going to want to see you. Like your name has like clout or like whatever. Yeah. And then it's kind of like internationally recognized that there's certain pros who are considered here, and then there's certain pros who are considered like your worker bee pros or like your kind of working class pros that like aren't quite as influential but are still very impressive to watch on skates, but just don't have, say, maybe like no one's mimicking their tricks or their clothing style or whatever. Whereas up here, like these people are literally getting copycatted left, right, and center.
Mm-hmm.
But you fall into that category to a certain respect, because you could say like Colin Martin is not a pro skater, but how many people rip off his moves or like take inspiration from his moves? You're not a pro skater, but how much influence is, I don't even know what we would call this, grinding the crevice, like all these kind of stuff. Like how many people are doing that now? No one was doing that before.
Mm-hmm.
There were isolated examples. There were isolated examples of people doing it, but it never gained any momentum. Now it has momentum. That's because of you.
Yeah, but that just because you have like an idea or you were like sort of doing something loudly or like the right person put it on a pedestal, you get some attention for it, but that doesn't, anyone can throw an idea out there, right? Like I have lots of ideas. They're not all good. And sometimes they stick and sometimes they don't. But yeah, if the question is if you are like, are you a pro skater because you make a dent? No, I don't think so. Colin's not a pro skater, but Colin's incredible. And Colin is doing stuff that literally no one else can do. I'm certain. I've seen him do it in person and it is jaw dropping. Colin, yeah. Is he pro? No, but he's like a total outlier and like gift to rollerblading.
I would agree. Yep. Where is your mind gone to now in this though? That's the interesting thing.
In West Philadelphia, where I was born and raised,
yeah,
the playground is actually where I spend most of my days.
Just
grinding the crevices.
Just chilling out, Max. But also, there are ideas that I feel like you've only just started to explore, or you've only just started to kind of showcase that I'm like, I don't see anyone else doing that. And I don't even know if that can catch on because I feel like it's such a difficult thing to execute. There was an episode of Jumbo where you just heel rolled round like the crease of a curved ledge, and you could tell that you were just kind of figuring it out and like didn't really land one that you were happy with, but it was still like, whoa. And then I'm sure in another episode of Jumbo, I seen you heel roll down the corner of a set of steps. Like it was where the set of steps met the ledge. And I was like, I can't even heel roll yet, consider basically doing what is the equivalent to like a heel roll kind of slide grind thing in the corner of a set of stairs down a ledge. I'm going to have to show the clip along with it to go with this because there's no way to explain it in a way that allows people to visualize it.
Can't wait to see. I don't remember doing that, so I hope that it sounds cool.
There was like a stair. There was oh god, it was like a few episodes back, and they were all like sessioning like a really really short down ledge, and instead of skating the down ledge, you just like, I don't even know if it was hero or like one. Basically, you just shoved your foot in the corner where the ledge met the set of steps and rolled down it on one foot. But it either looked like a hero. I can't even remember. But
okay.
I was just like, who comes up with that? Who, like, I would not look at that and think that's an option.
Well, it turns out that once you like have sort of additional concepts, you can map them onto the same terrain and skate the same object in new ways, as long as you're willing to, like, you know, as long as you have the concepts to apply to it. I don't know. I feel like anyone could come up with those moves.
Okay. Well, I mean, when we talked about like the clout earlier, like other people like recognizing these things and having appreciation for them, I feel like it does have more influence than you're willing to accept, because like the Kelsos wanted you in Zephyr 4, which like they don't really invite many people into their circle to like appear in their videos. They're very selective. Like they've got like Brosco, Pat Ridder, they've had Harry Abel in the past that they got over from England, but like who they choose is a very small amount of people. And my only disappointment about that was it looked like you just filmed it on your own in Texas and sent it to them instead of actually being there with them and doing it with them on their terrain. I would have loved to have seen you like go back to back with them on like environments. Yeah. That would have been interesting.
I'd just sit and watch them the entire time.
So how did that come about?
Sean just DM'd me and asked if I could submit some clips for a video, and I said absolutely. And it rained all that week, so I did not even get like a filmer to come out because no one wanted to film me in the rain, right? Why would they?
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm not blowing this opportunity to like be in this video, so I brought phone. I had two phones at some point, and I set them up, and I would, you know, sweep the water away and try to skate some ledges. And I had a very stressful few days trying to get clips whenever there was like a break in the rain. It was terrible timing to go get clips for. So like, it was amazing to receive that opportunity, and then really like monkey's paw, like, oh, you can get clips of this video. in a hurricane. Go ahead. That
So
was
wait a
fun.
minute. How little notice did they were like, hey, we're releasing the video on the 29th. Can you just give us some footage? And you're like, it's happening again. What is happening? Um, that's maybe it's like saying the audio levels. I don't know. I don't really do well with tech. Why am I running a podcast? Yeah.
I don't know. Honestly, we could restart this whole thing and I would be fine with it. I've not
No,
liked this answer I've given you.
absolutely not.
This is
And
ruined
so
my
many
career.
people don't, and that's fine. Like how much notice did they give you where they're like, oh, it's coming out on the 29th, it's only the 21st, can you just get us a folder of footage? And you're like, where's the notice, guys?
Uh, yeah, I mean, I can't speak to that. It was Sean's video. I was just grateful to be asked at all. So I think he was like, I think he seemed a little surprised. I was like, oh, absolutely, I'll send you some clips this weekend. But I had like a pretty free schedule that week, so it worked out.
Right.
Well, it worked out as best as it could. I did the best that I could with what I had.
Was there ever any discussion like afterwards about you guys actually meeting up somewhere to fit? Because I feel like if you went to their parks, because they've obviously got good concrete parks there as well, like either with the wizard skating or your take on aggressive skating, I feel like you guys could come up with gold.
Uh, I mean, that sounds fun. I would, I someday I'm sure I'll be in Philadelphia, and I'll definitely hit them both up. I'd love to.
Is that
But
your way of saying he went, thanks for the clips, and then just never contacted you again?
no. I'm just like trying. Feels weird to be like talking about DMs, like private DMs in
Okay.
public.
Like if you guys were sexting each other, that's fine. Like whatever you like want to do in your private, that's fine. There's nothing to be ashamed of. It's just yeah.
No, they both are like great dudes, and I would love to skate with them in person someday when I'm up in that area.
Since you're uncomfortable talking about DMs, what other like I'm curious to know that what other like I feel like you're a skater that like like a pro skater's skater kind of thing, like one that just I feel like there's got to be other people who've reached out and been like, holy shit, I'm really impressed by what you do. And I feel like there's got to be like big names who have reached out and went, I'm really impressed with what you do.
Are you asking me to name drop?
Yes.
I don't want to do that.
I mean, I told you I was going to ask you questions that make you uncomfortable. What can I say? So, but what
people have said some nice things to me. Enough people who's skating, and I respect that it feels very good.
Okay, but what you are admitting is that there has been pros that have contacted you, so that's all I needed to know. You've confirmed what I already thought, so it's fine. You don't need to name them.
Some people have that. I mean, yeah, sure, whatever. This is so embarrassing for me. I hate this.
Yes, then I'm doing my job.
Wait.
Also, so like you and Mike Torres go back quite a while, because I know that you and Ian Kopp used to make, well, you didn't used to make, you still make the like buddy tour videos. You've done like the SF one, you do like Vermont trip ones and stuff like that. And I know Mike Torres has been on them before. I was actually quizzing Mike Torres not too long ago. I was like, you guys have known each other for years. Why have you guys not worked on a project together? I'm like, Michael Kraft's never appeared in any of your stuff, like ever. Even Ian's appeared in some of Mike's videos in the past, like nights and weekends and stuff like that, or One for the Road. He appeared, he had like clips in one of them.
Yeah, he's made a lot of videos. One of those. I think I'll have a clip in the new Bodega video.
Okay.
I was in New York for a day. We went and got a clip. But are you asking?
I am asking why, because even he's obviously been to Texas to visit you, because you guys have got like wizard skating footage together. I know that you've stayed at his house before when he lived in Florida, South Carolina. You know, one of those places. I don't know.
I think you know any of the U.S. states at all, honestly.
I used to spend summers in Omaha, Nebraska. Thank you very much. Don't ask.
Okay.
We have I had family there. My uncle worked on an air base. We used to go and like visit his family there. They had family in Michigan. I've been to a weird, like a strange amount of places in the US over the years, but yeah.
You skate that famous long rail in Omaha?
No, it was pre rollerblading. I was in primary school at the time, but
Oh,
I have been to the skate park from Hawks 4, the one in New York in Riverside. Um, the guy like
true.
does a front flip and like basically lands in his face. And I went to the skate park and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And then within 5 minutes of being there, I split a handrail and my feet didn't touch the ground. And my father, who's like really, really religious, was like, no, just take the skates off. Like, we're done here. Like, that was, and I was like, whoa, we just paid to get in. I'm not stopping.
Yeah.
No, and proceeded to kill
I
myself.
thought I thought you were definitely gonna say he like prayed for you in the moment or
No,
something.
no, he was just like, he was like, why would you do this to yourself? He's like, you're just punishing your body. And I was like, yeah, but it's fun.
That is a real part of it. It is. I was skating a P rail 2 days ago, and my shoulder has not recovered yet. I didn't do arm circles before I jumped on the rail, and it completely ruined my week. So that's cool. I love being in my mid-30s.
Um, I'm I've turned 40 this year, so yes, I'm well aware of the shortcomings of growing older.
Yeah,
But
figure the fun of it.
you 100% swerved that question about Mike, and I know Mike's going to end up watching this. So let's come up with a diplomatic response that doesn't upset him.
The question is, why haven't we worked on anything together? I mean,
Yeah. Even with the wizard stuff, I'm surprised that they've not kind of like, because obviously you were like one of the early adopters of it, and I remember you getting a set of them not too long after like they even started making wizard frames. So I'm kind of surprised that you've not like popped up in any of that stuff either.
I mean, it's probably just distance. I don't know. Whenever Mike and I are like on trips together, he's usually like the buddy tours. He's like, I'm on vacation. I'm not filming. I'm just skating. You can, he's like, because he does camera stuff for work. He does it for his own projects. He's doing it for paid skating projects. He does it a lot. I'm not trying to like, hey, whatever. I'm not trying to make him do more work specifically to focus on me. But yeah, I have a ton of do I have a ton of Mike footage? I'm finally working on Buddy 10. So I don't know if you're familiar with Ian's meme assault he's been hitting me with weekly. He's been making memes about me not finishing this video for like 4 years, and I'm finally working on it now. So
I am not, but a lot of Mike Torres footage sounds promising. He is.
well, a lot is like it's footage from like 2014 and then various trips over the years. So it's all like absolutely dated. Even like cutting my own stuff, I'm like, this was like novel at the time, but now it already is like passe.
So he's going to be on rollerblades then. So you're going to get him into trouble with the boss. That's
Yeah, that's the goal. Yeah,
Mike, Mike, why are you dropping all this new footage on RBs? What's that? What's this all about?
yeah, his really long hair too. I'm sure everyone will know it's recent. No, the video is also going to be framed in a way that it's like retrospective. It's going to be like, these are all our skate trips over time, and this is like these are these fun events that we got to like create and experience together.
Why does it take you so long to put this stuff out if you're not like trying to like film more footage for it or think like
sucks?
Because what sucks?
Video editing.
Okay, I mean, yeah.
What happened was I used to really love making videos, and it was like a fun creative outlet for me. And then I started regularly making music, which is immediately satisfying. So every time I am like, oh, I want to go do something, do I want to like tediously cut and recut and then like add effects and then color correct and then do the audio editing and put it all together and go, is this good enough? What will strangers think about this? If I was a stranger, how would I experience this for the first time? At what point would I turn it off if I were watching this? Then I just want to close the thing and go play music, which is just like fun to go bleep bloop.
Yeah.
So it's I've lost the fire for video editing. And now there's like a ton of pressure for it to be like, I didn't finish a video in 4 years. What took so long? And then if I put it out now, it's like, oh, it's not even very good. So what? Well, it's a lot of build up for a thing that it makes it harder to work on.
Okay, but you're a nightmare with music as well because you keep that to yourself too.
Yeah, that's true. That's
like,
true.
I'm not seeing any SoundCloud or links on your or Bandcamp links on any of your social media profiles? You're just being
I'm
you're
not.
being stingy with music as well.
Yeah, I mean, I do put it online. I just put it online under a name that's impossible to trace to me, and I don't show to anybody. But it does get
Great.
me health insurance, so that's the most important thing.
You're not seeing any issues with this. Okay, right. Okay, fair enough. Um,
Yeah.
all right. Um, so of like any like of any people who make videos, I find this very surprising that no one who actually makes videos or film sections has approached you, especially given recently, like with the kind of notoriety that you've got for your skating or appearing in the basement stuff, or like we'll get onto the jumbo stuff in a minute. Like no one's contacted you and go and went, I want to film a section with you. How can we make this work?
Yeah, well, so it turns out, as if it wasn't like devastatingly apparent from this episode of your podcast, I'm very self-conscious. And that makes it extremely hard to film with other people. With all of my clips are like shoe cam because there's no pressure. Like it's only me and I'm only wasting my time. But as soon as like Ant's been filming me and it's been like a nightmare for me like mentally to be like, oh my god, this I have this guy like on the ground, he's been crouching for like 20 minutes waiting for me to get this fucking trick. That sucks. And it's like it sucks to have that much pressure and then to feel like I'm wasting people's time, and then I'm so grateful that they're filming me at all, and then what I'm doing is just like making them work and there's no payoff for them working. Like it's hard for me to actually film with people. I have a hard time doing it. There's like a select few people who are like, hey, I'm having fun, who like will emotionally like give me the reassurance I need to be like, okay, I'm not wasting your time. We're both in this together. You're having fun. I'm having fun. We'll get this. We'll get this together. And you know, I think I'm slowly getting over it just through exposure because we've been out filming Jumbo and filming for some projects just every weekend. So I am getting better with it, but I still have a hard time like straight up just filming with people. So were I to go to New York or somewhere and film with some people, I would be like, all right, we have a week. We have a week to do this thing. We have to.
Oh god! Oh god! We've only got a week.
You know, it's a lot of pressure, and it's a lot of me feeling like I'm just wasting people's time. So it's hard for me to actually portray my skating in the way that I would love to. It just takes longer than I think anyone wants, but I'm doing it with other people.
I'm gonna call bullshit on a couple of elements of that. No one really has fun filming clips. Like no one like everyone loves rollerblading, but when the record button gets pressed, the fun element of it rapidly decreases at quite a pace.
Yeah, you're right, but I will say that to really like nail a clip, to like film it and get it exactly the way you pictured it is like pretty satisfying, in a way that, you know,
satisfying is correct. Fun is not. It's laborious.
Yeah. Okay. That's a fair take. Which makes my point even stronger.
But Ant's clearly like mental patient because he's been making rollerblading videos for decades. So clearly he does not mind the mental torture that comes with sitting for hours watching someone just go through the absolute mental agony of trying to land a trick the way they have it pictured in their head.
Yeah, and God bless him for that. That's really a special quality in a person that I'm not sure that I have, and I'm very empathetic.
I don't think empathy comes into it. Ant's not that empathetic. We have regular discussions about video output, including my own, in which he like took quite a fine tooth comb through recently and slagged off, and I agreed with every point he made, but the point still stands. He did not hold back.
I mean, I respect that as well. There's a little of that happening, and it's probably for the best that there's very little of that happening now. It used to be like on the message boards when you could be more anonymous. It was like people were pretty ruthless. We're all younger then too, but now everyone's like names attached to their.
Kind of like that though. I feel like if you're gonna have if you want to have the strong opinions and put yourself out there and really like lay into someone and curse them out, I think the very least you should do is be able to show your name and face and not hide behind either a meme account or like some stupid little avatar thing. At least be like, I've had people come up to me and be like, you shat all over like that thing that I made. You said you didn't like it. And I'm like, I didn't. I wasn't offensive. I was like, you interpret it that way. I'm allowed as a consumer, if I pay for something and I don't enjoy it, I'm allowed to speak poorly of it. Like if you go to a restaurant and someone hands you a piece of shit that doesn't taste nice, you have a right. The waiter goes, did you enjoy your food? No, I did not.
Yeah, I would never do that. This is the thing.
If you buy, especially in the VOD era, when someone released a VOD, if you paid money for it and you're like, well, now I feel short, I paid money for this and this sucked. Like, no, I don't. I'm not like. And someone, what did you think of that? I didn't like it. I wish I hadn't spent $5 on it. Like,
yeah, I mean, I guess there's a difference between like doing that with your friends and then like doing it to like, you know, several thousand people or whatever. That like becomes like an opinion versus like a statement with more consequence. Like, I don't know, there's like a pedestal involved sometimes, or with you have like a pretty big following. I don't know how many people, but you have a decent following.
well, okay, yeah, we'll be generous. We'll call it decent. Yeah, sure.
I don't know what it is, but I'm assuming it's decent.
It's not. Yeah, I do know what you mean.
But then piss all over everybody's stuff. I don't care.
I think it is. It's just becoming more and more frequent that people send me stuff and go, what do you think? And I'm like, you don't want me to tell you what I think. You want me to tell you it's good.
Sure.
Like, you don't send me something, then I go, oh, actually, I wasn't really fond of this music. Didn't really think this fit. Like, I thought, you should have redone that, or that was a little dark. That, see, if I started doing, they'd be like, oh, well, this isn't what I hoped for. Like, they just want you to go, that's great. Well done. Like, you're amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know. Do you have an obligation to be honest with them, or can you just say? I mean, I don't know. It's just like it's.
The thing that catches me out the most is someone sends me a link going, check this out, not realizing that, of course, I already know about it, and more often than not, I have seen it.
Yeah.
So it's like, like, if you don't think I'm that on the ball that I know about these like things coming out, that's kind of weird, because especially if you follow me and know that that's like the whole kind of point of what I create, to then go, oh, maybe you haven't seen this yet, and you're like, of course I have. And I didn't say anything about it. Like, that should tell you what you need to know.
Do you like go out of your way to watch everything now as a part of this?
I don't go out of my way. I'm just like obsessive about it. Like, as soon as I see like something, even if it's got skaters in it I've never heard of, I'm like, oh, that I've not seen that. I want to watch it. Like, I am like, yeah, I'm an obsessive consumer, definitely.
I find that interesting because I don't feel that way anymore. We were talking about how old skate videos are pretty like lackluster and often bad if you watch them now by current standards, and how sometimes the things are best left in nostalgia and best left in your memory. I almost never watch a video twice now, but I find myself nostalgic and somewhat like longing for a video that like really made me feel the oomph, the all-consuming fervor that like a new video would give me. And it happened because you would get like one or two like really amazing videos a year, and so you just watch them over and over, and that was your only access to skating and to those people. And now it's like I see skating so much that I just don't even process it sometimes anymore.
There is that element of it as well. So while I do watch everything, there's very little that has a meaningful impact. There's very little that, there's definitely stuff that like the recent Muzzle video, I watched that a bunch of times because knew the people in it, like have quite a good friendship with one of the people in it, and was like, oh my god, this is like the best footage I've ever seen of you, and like just kind of kept watching. There was that element of it, and the fact that I just liked the way it was pieced together. But I do know what you mean. I'm probably consuming more rollerblade media than I ever have, but there's very little of it that I would say profoundly impacts me.
Yeah, and I think it probably won't ever again, like to the same extent that we experienced as teenagers. I think that one, or we just have different brains now, and two, our our relationship to media has changed. The media itself has changed. Our the medium through which we watch it has changed, and our access to it has changed. And I'm like, I understand those things. Like I can intellectually understand them. And then I also am like, God, I wish there was like a good skate video, which is just like, I see great skating all the time, but I'm like, nothing. I wish something would like really make me obsess in a way that I used to as a kid. And that might just be like a general, like common nostalgia, like longing for childhood that I'm experiencing. But
Yeah.
I do wish that I could like be wowed in the same way by a skate video. I did watch the Mesmer Rising, the first Mesmer video that came out.
Yeah.
Unbelievable,
Yeah.
instant classic. It's so good, and I had forgotten nearly every trick in it because I haven't watched it since it came out. That was really good, and I was like, this would have been like one of the ones that I watched over and over again. Like I would have watched this every day after school if that had been my life. If like that was the only thing in my life was just like skating in school or whatever. But yeah, all of
They
it.
also very cleverly pulled on the heartstrings though, because they used relatively nostalgic music to make you also hark back to that time. Like they're throwing in like Smashing Pumpkins and stuff like that, which is from like the era that a lot of people grew up
Sure.
or started rollerblading, like the mid 90s, the late 90s, when all that stuff was kind of kicking up. So they're still doing it now, like putting in like a Nirvana track or like a like what was the other stuff they used in the recent one, like Sonic Youth and stuff like that. I feel like they're very clever, like putting like quite a interesting time period of music into their stuff, because they could have used rock or metal or stoner metal from any they could have
Sure.
used, but they're quite like, it seems
Mm.
like intentionally using that exact era of it.
I didn't even catch that. That's interesting. But I never was really into that kind of music as a teenager. So like Smashing Pumpkins was, I only knew the song that Brian Shima skated to, and that was the extent of my.
You're also a
Smash-
decade younger than me, so
Sure.
there's
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
that element of it as well. Yeah. Like those guys are very much a lot closer to my age. So
Yeah. That's fair. I didn't think about that as a, but 2 years ago, someone would say, "Hey, the '90s are back," but I feel like that's already come and gone again. So I have no idea.
yeah, yeah, definitely. So like the mesmerizing video is one of like the only videos you can think of in recent years that you were like, wow, that actually like that kind of stayed with me.
Well, I guess what I was saying was my point was that it didn't stay with me, even though it was really, really good. Like Bellino's clips in it are like unbelievable. Some of the skating there is timeless and like sort of new school and creative and clever and like a great mix of big and small tricks of like amplitude and precision. It's really good. But again, if you ask me some of my favorite tricks in it, I will probably struggle to think of some.
But I wouldn't say that necessarily reflects your enjoyment of it. Just the fact that it's not like when you obsessively watched a rollerblading VHS or DVD, whatever like era you were in, like because you might not have had a choice until the next release came out, because there weren't the daily internet like things
Right.
coming up. But I feel like just because you can't pinpoint specific tricks, it doesn't necessarily mean that you didn't enjoy it as much. It just means that your brain's processing in a different way, as opposed to like watching a video over and over, like like loading it up on your TV kind of thing.
Yeah. You know, I, we're sort of circling around this point, or this. I think this is maybe a more generalized phenomenon, just because we live in a world now that is, the 24-hour news cycle. Like things just never stop. There's
Yeah.
not news at 10 or whatever. There's just like everything all the time. And I miss having breaks, just generally miss having breaks. But like even in skating, there was like, this is the video, these are the tricks everyone's doing. This is what we're all going to do for the next year or whatever. Like, right.
Yeah.
We were all going to do spin tricks or something. We were all going to do a 540 kind grind. That was the thing. And it's just like people will do stuff now, and I don't know. This could just be also my personal like addiction to social media, which is severe and unfortunate. But yeah, I wish there were like more sort of like defining events or like things to look forward to, because I just feel like rollerblading has been like floating through Instagram for a number of years, and it's just like clip, 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 and it's just like a barrage of tricks, and none of them are like none of them feel meaningful, you know. But that's also my problem.
I do think that is quite a kind of general consensus that it does dilute it down when you see it all the time. I think of like the Spotify effect on music. Like I have a Spotify account and have the app on my phone, but I find myself just listening to the same few albums all the time, and they're most of them aren't new. They're albums from my teenage years, or albums that I was like, God, this is so deep. And then you listen to the lyrics now and you're like, wow, this is really moronic. But like it's that you still have that emotional attachment to it, that you're like, wow, he just rhymed, I don't know, like something like just these ridiculous like two lines in a song together. But you're like, at the time when I was a kid, you were like, I was screaming along to that at the top of my lungs and felt every word of it. And you try to get into new music, and I do, and like I'll enjoy it, but I will still like, as much as I like a new band or artist or whatever, I still like revert back to the music from like 20 years ago that I loved in secondary school, high school, or whatever. Because I'm like, there's something that touches in me that nothing now can. Nothing now just has the ability to.
Yeah, I think that's the exact phenomenon I'm describing. I think it parallels exactly in rollerblading and skate videos. I mean, I'm the same way. I find myself becoming a little more like reluctant. I like actively have to make I actively seek out new music to listen to, because I never want to get stuck like listening to that. Although my Spotify Wrapped was a nice reminder that in fact was not the case. But I am like fairly active about listening to new music, because I don't want to get stuck, and I don't want to be like, nah, this brief window of music when I was a teenager was actually the best window for music. Because I know that's not true. Although I do feel like it's true. I know it's not true. So I have to, I don't know, I'm trying not to get old, and I'm trying not to be like, I don't want to be in the same sort of like mental or emotional state. But I do agree with you that things won't hit emotionally like they did when you were that age anymore. And that, I think that is what I'm sad about. I sort of wish that I could like hear an album and be like, yes, this is consuming me. I don't get that anymore. And now my interest is sort of technical. When I listen to music, I'm like, oh, how do they produce this? How do they record this? Oh yeah, sometimes I can hear those settings on the reverb or whatever in a way that it enriches my experience of music, but also sort of I guess the idea that it's superior somehow to be like completely emotionally invested in something is probably obviously false. But I'm getting a different experience out of skating now, and out of music now, and out of media now, than I did as a child. Obviously, we all are, but I do often find myself longing for that sort of deep emotional experience, even though I have like a sort of richer, more technical appreciation for things now.
Yeah.
I've said that in 4 different ways already.
That is true. It's like, as you get older, it's kind of difficult, especially. I also don't think you've got the emotional maturity to kind of comprehend these things as well. So I think that's a lot to do with it being like quite emotionally immature, that these things have like such profound, or like, I remember seeing things and being like, that looks dangerous. So that appeals to me, not like in a like physically dangerous way, like as in like the ideas were dangerous, that really liked me. I was like, that's provocative, or like that's getting a reaction from people. Like, I like that. That's really, there's something about that. And whereas when you get older, everything just kind of seems like you've seen it before, or even like music seems like you've heard it before, because you're like, well, I can think of off the top of my head like 5 acts that sound like that, even when they're like an experimental electronic like like outfit that are, I don't know, going into the woods and just getting animal noises and like regurgitating them through you're like, oh, that actually still sounds like something I've heard 20 years ago. And with skate videos, it is still the same as well. Like you watch someone do a trick and you're like, God, that reminds me of such and such, like doing that same like trick that way, or did it, or like a topsoul, or like even like the pivot thing, like, or you'll see someone like spinning on just like one wheel beat, or it's that you can still find reference points to your past of it's when you've been involved in something for so long. So I do think it makes it really hard for something to kind of just like blow you away.
Yeah, so this morning I watched the new Nils edit for the purple promo, and I watched the ender and I completely zoned out, and then the thing ended, and I was like, "Wait a minute, how did it end?" I had to rewind it because as soon as I saw the setup, I saw like drop rail, I just like glazed over, and it's not because it was a boring trick, or it's not because it was like it was a scary risky trick, right? But I've just like seen that setup before. I've like seen the rail on the third of the screen, and I've seen like the skater, and I just like completely zoned out. And it's no fault of like Nils or the camera person. I just like I'm so exposed to skating, and I've watched so much of it in so many skate videos, and they're all so similar. I find myself like not even just like not I'm having the same emotional response, but sometimes I'm like not even. It feels like mechanical watching it, where I'm just like, yep. Or if I'm like predicting tricks, and like sometimes
that's it. But it's because when you first saw that, you're like, holy shit, what's about to happen? What is he going to do? Is he going to live? And now you're like, I know what's coming.
Yeah.
You're like, he's about to send it. Like that's about that. This is about to be a stunt, or like that guy's about, or there's just certain shots that filmers use, and you're like, I see where this is going. I don't even need to see who the skater is or how they're approaching the obstacle. I know what's about to happen.
Yeah. And I was thinking about that because we were filming on Sunday, Ant and Broom and I and Jim. And we're just like skating a bench. And I was like, all right, well, what can I do on this bench that I've never done before? And not that I've never done before, but like that most people probably haven't seen before. Because that sort of that gets me excited. Like watching like Harry Abel skate or Scott, those guys, what a delight. What a delight to watch those two skate. Because often you just have no idea what to expect. And I really appreciate that as a viewer and as a skater who's been in it for 20 plus years. Like I love watching a clip and not knowing what I'm about to see. And so that you can call it novelty if you want, but I think it's thoughtful. I think that those two skaters in particular are very thoughtful, and I appreciate that in their skating, in their clips. And so I've been trying to really like focus in on that. Like what can I do that's like within my skill set, but also is not going to be like so predictable on this. And it's just partly because those clips are like what excite me as a viewer, and I like want to be able to replicate that on a bench was tough.
Yeah, I do get what you mean. But although John Bellino also pointed out quite an interesting thing when I spoke to him, he was like, when I was coming up or trying to make a name for myself, it was all like you had to do the hardest trick. It had to be the hardest trick, no matter what obstacle you went to. It was just a case of getting the most difficult thing down it. And now it's not like that. Now we go to a ledge and I don't have to try and 540 kind grind it or 540 Alec fish it or da-da-da-da-da. He's like, I just have to think of the most inventive, fun way to make use of this obstacle. It's about basically trying to get a trick on the obstacle, whereas before it was just all about the trick. He was like, it was all about what is the hardest, most impressive thing I can do in this? Whereas he's like, now it's all about how can I use this obstacle in the most interesting way possible? And that element of it, I'm like, that when someone describes it that way to me, I'm like, that's interesting. That I like the playfulness of it, the kind of exploring.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that statement. And that's like a big part of like, you were describing the like stair crevice roll earlier, and I was like, I've never done that before. It's there. It's like it's a thing that can be done. I'll try it. But like, how do you skate like 6 stairs in a way you've never skated it before? There are countless ways to do it, but we don't really do that, and it's fun to try. And sometimes if you're as sick as John Bellino, it looks incredible, and you can do incredible stuff on it.
Yeah, he's a terrible example to use because I feel like whatever he applies himself to, he can. Like, he's proven that he can transcend those generational boundaries by just doing anything.
Really, really sickeningly good at skating. That guy, it's like really, really good.
Yeah.
Breaking news: John Bellino's really good at skating.
When he came back, I was like, please don't tarnish my memory of you just being like this absolute kind of trailblazing little kid that was just a bit fearless. And then he came back and I was like, oh my God, you don't look dated at all. Like so many people come back and you're like, oh, you're replaying the classics. Cool. We've seen this. John came back and I was like, oh, you've fully immersed yourself in what is happening now. And you are all still at the forefront of it. That's wild.
Yeah. Refined, creative, conceptually interesting, high amplitude, high velocity. He's definitely one of my favorites doing it right now.
That's what I was curious about. So I remember like when I first saw you skating, I'm sure you were wearing shadows in those like ridiculously long K2 frames, which I can't remember the names of. Like I was like, those frames are too long for that skate. They're weird. I'm interested to know like what your influences were like growing up. That kind of like I feel like the whole kind of shadow rock movement was very much like something that you perhaps kind of latched on to. Like were there particular skaters that you were like, holy shit, yep, they're what I want to watch?
Yeah, definitely. Well, so first video is Brain Fear Gone, and the Dustin part blew me away. Was just like so obsessed with him for years, and then all the mind game stuff, I loved it. I mean, I feel like that still shows in my skating that I was like always wanted to be like a mind game skater. Yeah, was into all the like Carl Sturgis videos. That was everyone switching to Negretti videos. Really love those. Watch those all the time. Like always wanted to be a part of that like phenomenon. Later became friends with a lot of those guys, and that was cool. Yeah. And what was the question? What was the question like
just like particular skaters that you were like really influence your kind of outlook on skating? Like, because I feel like it has always been different, but then I don't know whether that's by choice or like you said by like you're like, well, I know these are the tricks I can do. I'm just trying to apply them in ways that interest me, because I feel like sometimes people choose to go down that route, and some people just don't have a choice because they're like, I can't do the handrail thing, or I don't want to do the handrail thing, or the gap thing, or the, you know, whatever was going on at the time, grinding off roofs, that kind of stuff. They're like, I don't want to kill myself. Like,
I don't want to kill myself. At least not skating. What Cody and I were skating the other day, and he was like, people have no idea you can skate. They think you're just like a weirdo, because we were skating a rail, and I was like, I have stuff both ways if I want. And I can like do tricks, you know, but they're like less exciting for me to like, I'm never going to post a P-rail session of myself. No one wants to see that. Everyone's seen every possible trick on a rail done before. You know, like that doesn't interest me personally.
You've posted P-rail clips. I mean, the way you fidget with them isn't the way that other people skate P-rails, but they're P-rail clips. They're skate park P-rail clips.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. I guess I was picturing it in a driveway, and I was like, you've never seen my driveway. But, no, you're right.
I can use Google Maps. I've found out everything. I know your telephone number. I know it all. Right.
So, I mean, it probably is all available. Although I did pay for Delete Me, so if they aren't deleting all that information, I want my money back. Free commercial for them, I guess. The question was like, what skaters did I emulate growing up? Dustin, the Mind Game team, I always wanted to be a part of. I really love the like rock and roll, like Negretti stuff. Stockwell, the Heat team. Although that video, I didn't love the video, but wanted to.
I know what you mean. It definitely felt like it could have been something more.
It felt pretty rushed.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, I'm glad it exists at all. I guess I got to see skating that I liked. Yeah, and then I don't know. I even as like a baggy pants kid in Shadows and Mooks, I was still like, what's the weird stuff? Will you give me a direct question? Because I can ramble about this, but I can ramble about it, which is normally good for podcasts, right? If you have a cohesive train of thought.
Okay. Okay. Which skaters now make you hopeful about the direction that rollerblading's going, and which people do you watch now that you're like, oh, I'm really interested to see where you go? Or because we can name Colin Martin, but let's be honest, Colin's been around for decades. Like Colin's been around since V8. Colin's been appearing in videos since VHSs were getting released. He's creating new tricks, but he's not a new skater. Like,
sure.
Is there anyone that's kind of come around the past, 5 or 10 years that you're like, whoa, like their ideas are pretty interesting. That's the kind of stuff I would like to watch more of.
If that's the question, it's a little tougher, but Junkyu, I'm not sure if the pronunciation, obviously,
Park, yeah,
that guy is like unbelievable. Like came out of the gate, an incredible skater. Obviously, it feels like silly to even have to mention his name because he's just like, he's definitely like, if I see a clip going up, I'll stop what I'm doing to like watch it. Like whatever I'm doing, I'll stop and sit down and watch his clips. Who else? That's it. No, I don't know.
Everyone else bores me. You guys bore me.
I don't have. Bellino just put up a little park edit that I watched a couple times. That guy's going places. New skater.
That kid's got a bright future ahead of him. He's got a bright. I've always said that.
I don't know. If the question is who have I seen emerge in the past 10 years?
Not even maybe emerge. Just I mean, of like the current generation, like which ones do you like? Oh God, they've got stuff coming out. Like you said, like you saw that Junkyu Park had it, and you're like, oh, I need to watch that. I know that's going to be something I want to watch. Like other people like that kind of grab your attention. You go, oh, I need to pay attention to this. Like,
yeah, God, I feel like I'm surprised I don't have more of an answer for you because I know that there are more people. I'm struggling to think of them on the spot. I love watching my friends skate. That's like a thing I'll usually take time to do is like watch my friends skate. I love watching Jeremy Raff skate. He just posted a thing today that was so good.
Isn't Jeremy might not be from El Paso, but he's definitely from an area of Texas that's near the Mexico border, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
What's it called?
It's generally referred to as the Valley, the Rio Grande Valley, but I don't know the exact city or town he's from.
Oh, that's kind of annoying because I interviewed when I first started like the Wheel Scene as a print publication in like 2011. He was in one of the first issues because he was releasing like online sections at the time, and I was like, this guy. He was living in San Francisco then, and I was like, this guy is onto something. Yeah, like he's very interesting to watch. Yeah,
he's a delight to watch skating and in person too. But yeah, he has just so much control and style and can just do whatever he wants. It's great. He's not a new skater also, but he is. Sure. Whenever he posts a clip, I'm very excited to see it. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have a better answer for you, and I don't want to take up precious podcast time.
Well, you've ruined that aspect of it, so we'll move on to something else. You've lived in Austin for a while, but you've been appearing in jumbo things, but I don't feel like you've been hanging about with that crew for that long because you've never been in any of the Aunt Medina videos, and I don't even think you were in jumbo at the start. I feel like you kind of came on as they were making those. Would that be right?
I think so. I actually don't. Yeah, no one ever was like, we're starting a thing called Jumbo, show up.
Oh yeah, I don't mean as in like it was a like by design they're like, oh, we're making this, like come along, get involved. But I feel like did, like were you a part of that group? Because when they were like even as recent as Candy, like you don't have any like clips in Candy or anything. So it was like,
Well, so there's an aspect of this that like none of us have like we've not even like talked about amongst ourselves. So it feels weird to like talk about it on a podcast. It feels like a little inappropriate to me. Um, but I think the short answer is I didn't know I was invited, so I never went.
okay,
Um, I think is the most succinct possible version of that, the answer to that question.
right.
Um, but they've all been skating here and ripping for years. I was always sort of doing my own thing.
Well, I guess that was my question. Like, were you skating with other people before you started hanging about with them, or were you just skating on your own, doing like? Because I saw that you're obviously like hugely into wizard skating and there was a period where you were just posting wizard stuff. Were you just doing that, or just hanging about at local skate parks, or like what was the dynamic before you started hanging about with those guys? I guess.
Yeah, right before Jumbo, was skating with my friend Jay and Nay. You've probably seen Nay skating. They are the long-haired, big pants, sort of majestic little elf.
Okay.
They're great. No, they're very distinct looking, is why I thought maybe you would recognize them. Um, yeah, I was skating with Nay, and we would meet up and like night skate and skate at parks and stuff together. It was never like project oriented. We just like skating, so we'd go out and skate. And that was like maybe 2019 through 20. They moved to Portland last year, I think. So that's when that sort of stopped. Um, yeah, I don't know. I would go on trips a lot, and I think I just skated alone a lot.
Okay.
I
That
think is the
that that was the yeah, that was the kind of impression I got, but it does feel like you're kind of immersed in that group now. And you say that you don't skate these obstacles, but like every obstacle you've said that you're not into skating, I've seen you skating in their videos. Like in the Jumbo videos, like I've seen you skating a handicap rail, I've seen you skating a down rail, I've seen you skating like a traditional ledge spot. Like,
Sure, but you don't see me trying very hard on them, right? Like I'm not trying to get hurt. Like I don't really want to get hurt doing something where the best of my abilities is going to be someone else's like throwaway clip. You know what I mean? Like everything I could skate a drop rail and maybe I could like do some hard spin trick on it. I could get really hurt doing that. And best case scenario, someone in a denial video did it in 2002, you know? Like
is that a fair comparison? Because I feel like you can kind of apply that to like any element of rollerblading and go, well, someone's done this better, like someone's done something better on a similar obstacle, so why try?
I don't think it's across the board, but as far as like risk reward for me, so I'm sorry, you're getting a glare. Oh, I'm so cute.
You're actually looking, you were looking, it was very cinematic and yeah,
Wow, there's no way to get rid of it, huh?
like some kind of psychological dream core art nouveau cinema. Yeah,
That's the name of our podcast.
that's it. Yeah, we need something
I knew it.
convoluted. Something
Um,
convoluted that's difficult to say and difficult to remember, because that's how we're going to retain an audience.
I already forgot it.
Yeah, then it's perfect.
Yep.
Write
Something
it
about
down. Write it down. Right.
green cordon. Um, the answer to your question is I don't remember the question.
So I do know, like you're basically saying the risk and reward, and I get it. Obviously, as I'm getting older, I find it. I still enjoy skating handrails, but then there'll be moments where you're snapped back to reality, and like you take quite like a sharp fall, and you're like, I'm getting hurt doing something that isn't really that interesting even to me. So why am I putting myself through this? Like I do
No,
understand
that's
what you mean.
exactly it. We were skating like a pretty small handicap rail uh last week or a week before. It's one of the jumbos that never made the light of day. Apparently, I don't know if he just didn't get enough footage that day. But it didn't. He never posted it. But we were skating as like a small handicap rail, and even then, I was like, I'm probably not going to get hurt on this. I could try some harder tricks. I don't really want to get hurt, is the thing, and like, there's some amount of like scapegoating with that, I think, as well, because like I can get just as hurt like fucking around at the skate park, right? I can like, it's always often the small stuff that trips me up.
Yeah.
But I like am excited to try the weird small stuff, and I'm not that excited to try like whatever a hurricane top acid down a handrail. Like I don't really, if I get that, I can imagine the feeling. I've done it on rails before, not down rails. I've done it on other rails before. I can get the feeling, and I think I'll roll away going, oh, I did that. Shout out to 2002, you know, or like, but I am genuinely interested in trying the stuff that I've never done before, and that feels really rewarding to me. And so I'm like pretty interested in that kind of skating. So even the handicap rail skating the other day, I was like, can I transfer the underbars? Can I just do like underbar? Can I gap to the under, like just ways that I've never skated them before and that feel new to me? And God, we were talking about music getting stale earlier, or like gravitating to the same music. I don't want to do the same tricks also that I've done my entire life. Frontside will always feel good, I think, or a backside, just floating a backside will probably always feel good. But I don't want to do soul grinds, you know, on ledges or whatever for the rest of my life. I want to do other things that skates can do. You know, there's like a lot of unexplored terrain with skates because we've been like so focused on grinds for so long, and then wizard skating came along, and that is like finally it's like mainstream now. No one's denying that wizard skating is like now a part of aggressive skating. Yeah. And that's great because in retrospect it's so obvious. Like, why weren't we using the wheels before, you know? And there's like a way in which I'm like, oh yeah, that was pretty like narrow-minded of us. And I really enjoy like throwing stuff against the wall and seeing if any of it sticks. A lot of it doesn't, but sometimes it does, and the stuff that does is fun to do.
Yeah, it is quite interesting how even like the wizards, there has actually always been elements of wizard skating in aggro labs, but it has always been like novelty things, or people even like doing it as like a joke in a skate video, or like they've just thrown it in going, oh yeah, like kind of like B-roll inside a video, but where you're like, no, it's actually a really interesting, curious idea you've come up with there. Or like even I remember seeing one of Haffy's first sections that had like a toe roll to grind in it, but they just kind of like dashed it. I think it was in United. I think it was one of Jan's videos in like United Front. He does like a toe roll to sew on it, and they just kind of throw the clip in. And it's really quick, and there's no like build up, as if just like, oh, that's nothing. Just they put that in there. But like I remember watching it going, no, that's like why like that. Yeah, that's really hard. Like what? Like why are more people not? And now there's so much of that happening, and you're like, it's always been there. It's been there for like decades. It's just, or like people integrating like doing like a hockey slide and then turning into a grind, like Ben Schwab and stuff like that, like doing like a cess slide and then hopping into grind, or a magic slide or a hockey slide or whatever, or like a T-stop into a grind and stuff like that. And you're like, it felt like it was just inevitable it would go that way, because if it just starts off as a fringe thing that people are just messing about with, and it's only every once in a while appearing in a video, it feels like it feels impossible that eventually it's not just going to seep in more.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you said, there's only so many times you can see a guy hurricane topsail a handrail,
right?
Or there's only so many handrails you can see that trick happen on, before you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I would love to see it up something. I would love to see someone do it up a rail. But yeah, there's my exposure to a lot of it has like dictated the direction my skating has gone. But also I'm just like a slut for novelty, which I don't think is necessarily bad. Novelty has a connotation of being like meaningless, maybe, or like
Yeah, I think that's it's when like language gets bastardized. It's like it's what's like the example I always think of is like Satan. Satan originally meant sun, like as in the actual sun, and then get changed into
I'm
those
gonna
like
actually shut the window or close the blinds because
go
the
for it.
Satan. It's kind of all right. Now
Um,
none of the viewers will know that I'm talking about rollerblading.
this this is it. Or another word I love that people use. People always use plethora to mean a lot of, but
Mhm.
the actual definition of plethora is too much.
Oh, really?
So
I
people are like,
didn't.
"Oh God, there's a plethora of options. There's a plethora of like great music," and you're like, "No, that means that. I mean, it's oversaturated. Like there's
But I do agree that that is true. I do think there is too much music. Hold on,
um,
I blocked out too much Satan. All right, I think we're back in business.
so yeah, I don't think calling something. I don't know that there's anything wrong with calling it novelty. I just don't think novelty is the right word for
Yeah,
it.
I think you're right. I maybe it's just newness. Um, it's creatively exciting for me to try stuff I've never done before, and it feels good when it's unexplored. And I last podcast I was on, I think I was talking with Jan, and he asked me if I knew all the wizard skating names, and I said that I didn't, and that I actively tried not to know them because I like it feeling sort of like unencumbered by um, categorization and like the sort of like the way that I don't know the rigidity of structure
Yeah.
that sort of just happens. I like when I put my wizard frames on, I'm just like, I'm gonna go do something until it feels good. And I like that. And I don't need to know if it's called a lion or like an open face sandwich or whatever. I don't care. And I sort of like that with just like, I don't know, trying grinds that I've never done or that no one maybe has tried since the 90s. There's a lot of stuff I've like seen in old videos, in 90s videos. I was like, oh my God, I thought so and so invented that, but someone actually did that like 25 years ago in one of these hoax videos. Like that's incredible. It's I love seeing I love when that happens. First of all, I love seeing stuff that you like that Toril Happy Toril Soul, where I'm like, oh yeah, you just toss this in and no one thought anything of it, but it was actually really cool. Or like could have been if you'd given it the right treatment, it could have been like a bigger thing than it was. And God, lost my point. What was the point? Point is,
Like coming up with some like uh, you kind of yeah hit the nail on the head there. Like the way you skate is you come up with tricks that even you don't have names for, and I think there's a certain element of you that finds satisfaction in the fact that other people can't name them either. They're like, oh well, they have to describe what you did because they can't name it.
yeah, but also,
Like at the start of the conversation where I was like, you did this thing down this obstacle, and I have to describe the obstacle and how you approached it rather than actually going, oh well, he obviously did a sunny day to fakie. Then like,
yeah, and there is also the sort of like as soon as there's names for it, I'm like, oh, okay, that's good because it's like it feels like it's a thing. I like when it's like, oh, it exists now. That's fun. It feels like fun to have like left like a little dent in this activity that I've been doing for so long. That's like a pretty rewarding feeling. That frame feels similarly like, oh, that's cool. Like, you know, even if no one remembers it next year, that's fine. But like I have the thing on the shelf and that feels good. It feels good to have just like made a small dent in rollerblading. Um, Even if it's just like a nick. But I again have lost my train of thought.
why don't more people invite Michael onto their podcast? It's weird. Why is he not
Yeah,
being on?
I really, this whole
What
time I've been like, maybe we can redo it. Maybe we can redo
why is
this
he?
episode because I am not.
You know, if you were on Jump Street, Austin would have freaked out by now. Austin would be sitting there just in blind panic. Um,
Good. That means I've done a good job. Um,
But yeah, like
we can do this again, and I'll be more prepared.
like what one element of skating that kind of like annoys me about it is I have become a pedant about trick names. Like someone will say something in my presence, and I'll be like, "Oh no, you mean that?"
Yeah.
And they'll go, "What?" And then you'll explain to them why you're right and why they've like got the terminology wrong. And then I'm like, "Ugh, I've become that person that like."
I was about to say, why?
I don't even know to what end, just so that maybe they don't go around and tell other people and give them like misinformation, or maybe it's just maybe it's like the ego element of knowing that I know the correct answer and that they didn't, and there's like probably that at play as well. There's definitely different facets to it. Either that or they've just annoyed me by not getting it right, and I'm like, no.
Do you consider language?
Also coming from a literary background as well, where yeah, language and like correctly communicating things, there's a lot of importance placed on it that I assume that probably has an element to it as well.
But the key word there that I'm interested in is correct. And do you consider language to be, or like a dictionary? You're talking about trick names. Do you consider it to be descriptive or prescriptive? Do you think that language is like a function that is changing with people as people change and culture changes, or do you consider it more prescriptive in the sense that these are the words that we use and this is how we use them, and to use them correctly they have to be in this order?
Oh no, I definitely have an issue with language as well, and especially having a child. There's so many times where they'll say a word and you go, "Oh, you actually mean this word," and they're like, "Why? That makes no sense. Why do that?" Or like even like days of the week, you get like there was a conversation I was having like, and she was really young as well. She was only like 2 or 3, and she went, "That makes no sense. Why would you do that? Or why would you have two words that sound the same but mean entirely different things?" And I was like, "Oh, don't get me wrong, the English language is insanely flawed. Like for example, you've got key, which is something you put in your door, or you've also got key that is a body of water surrounded by like concrete and buildings." And I'm like, this makes no sense. Anyone from a different country is not going to get that. And
Yeah.
as a teenager, I always thought it was pronounced quay. I was always like key and quay. And then when someone told, no, that's also pronounced key, I was like, well, that's stupid. Why would you do that? And there's so many examples.
I don't have much familiarity with that use of that sound.
Like
So
as in like QUAY is like a key of water. It's like it's almost like a harbor.
okay, I don't. That's not common. That's not a common term here. So
Or or
it is
another, for example, like race can be attributed to someone's skin color, or it can be attributed to a physical activity of running in competition with someone. I'm like, why would you do that? Don't do that. That's stupid.
Right, but people are also, this is the thing that I think we're both trying to avoid just in getting old, is like being like, I feel myself becoming more conservative in that way, where I'm like, is porn star a dumb name for a trick? Absolutely. Should we change it? Probably. But it's not going to happen, right? Like, it's not going to happen. And that's weird, right? Like we should all have the power to change this dumb name that we all have to say, but none of us seemingly have the ability to do so.
I do think I agree it's a stupid name, but then part of me also thinks the person that came up with it, or popularized it or whatever, they also gave it that, and it's kind of rude to them.
Who is that?
Who even knows? But then,
that's what I'm saying. Who gives a shit? Fuck that person.
True, but another element of it, which is probably the one that kind of riles me up, is that people go, "It's offensive," and I'm like, "What? How is that word offensive? I don't like. Do you want a little kid saying that?" And I'm like, "Well, no, obviously not." But like, I also wouldn't say it's an offensive term. It's not like,
yeah. I think that's another.
And it's sexist, and it's like, no one's saying no one's saying female porn star. Like, I understand that your mind would probably go there first and go, yes, a female adult actress, but like, it's not gender specific.
Yeah, I agree. I think Grant Hazelton and I had this conversation once, and he had the same. He had the same. As like, it's sexist that you think it's a whatever. There are plenty of
That's it. Yeah, like you could argue, like
male porn
you
stars,
saying
you
it's
know.
offensive, going, oh well, obviously they're talking about women. You go, well, why? Obviously,
Yeah, very heteronormative perception of what a porn star is.
yeah.
Not that that's like also not obviously often men in porn, but yeah. But what the interesting thing is that like even if someone with like a if John Julio was like we're gonna rename this one, we all agree it's stupid. We need like we need someone a big figurehead, a respected figurehead in the industry. We need someone of that amount of clout to do it. It still wouldn't work because we're all so it's so easy for us to be like stuck in these conservative ways. Like conceptually, I'm like, yeah, let's change the name. I've not thought of a better one. I've not tried, but even like Sunny Day doesn't really catch on. Although I also don't think it's a very good name. Just calling it a star seems
So
wrong to me.
Sunny Day didn't catch on. Are you joking? They've been calling it that since like the mid 90s.
Yeah, but it didn't catch on in the sense that we're still calling it porn star, right? It didn't overcome.
Yeah, yeah, true.
It didn't win. It obviously didn't win. Um, and there is a certain amount of like childhood, like teenage, like oh, it's so edgy to say porn star. We're gonna call that the new trick.
Like it's a product of its environment and time. Like it grew up in that period of Senate being like the angry youth co and all this. Like we're rebellious, we're punk rock, we're so alternative.
What we can do to salvage this pot. Hold on, the lighting is terrible.
It's fine.
No, it's okay. Are you sure?
Yeah.
And now it's fine.
You look all moody and mysterious. It was great.
Yeah, that was what I wanted. No, what we're gonna do to salvage this podcast because this has been a disaster for both of us.
Speak for yourself. I've been having a delightful time.
My career's in shambles after this.
You don't have a career, so it's fine. You're not a pro skater, remember?
All right. Well, my reputation as a normal person and not a neurotic dork is in shambles, right? What we're gonna do?
You're aware of who you're speaking to, right? Like
you are so calm and collected. Yeah, right. Okay. Neurotic, not.
Dark is very
I
apt.
didn't say dork. I didn't.
Right.
Yeah. Don't not put words in my mouth. Let's rename porn star right here, right now. I wish this were live so we could take requests.
See now all I want to do is call it female adult entertainer. Oh god, that was a sick female adult entertainer. Just to like,
we could call it a fey grind.
I don't even like them anyway. I don't even like the feeling of doing like, yeah.
What it's no, I got nothing.
I hate the feeling. It's there with Mizzou for me. I'm like, I just don't enjoy it. People are like, when was the last time you just did like just a regular forward Mizzou? And I'm like, never, because I despise them. And they're like, but you do sweat stance all the time. And I'm like, yeah, but that feels nice. Mizzou feels horrible.
Sweat stance feels great.
I love the way a sweat stance feels. I hate that when I do Mizzou. I feel like I've just put on skates for the first time. I'm like, why?
I completely agree. And also, what's his name? Vancouver boy already did the best Mizzou of all time. Skates with he's a wizard guy as well. God, why can't I recall his name? He's so sick.
Stuart Bratty.
Yeah, Stu did the best Mizzou of all time, so we can just retire that one. We should call it a Stu anyway.
There's an argument that Seth Miner did it first.
Yeah, but then we can say Ms. Stu, and that's really important. You know.
Oh. That's Stuart Bratty that is an example of someone actually in recent years that whenever and yes. even if I see like, oh my god, he's got a 1 minute wizard thing in just a flat piece of concrete, I'm like, I'm watching that. I want to see.
Stu has 1 minute, and I am like opening champagne bottles. Like a 1 minute Stu part, yes, that's a huge win.
Yeah.
Skating.
Also, and he's played it very cleverly that he doesn't release that much, so it doesn't. You don't feel like overwhelmed with footage from him. So when you do get stuff from him, you're like, oh, this feels like a treat.
Mike Torres is the same way. Love watching him skate. He barely puts stuff out, saves it for videos. I respect it.
I'll go. Yeah, I'll go along with that.
Do you not think so?
Oh no, I do. I love the stuff. And what was? I'm trying to think the stuff that he had where he was like messing about like the ledge thing out the back of a building in New York. Was it? Was it NYC Journal? It was one of the them projects, and he only had a few clips, but I was like, holy crap. And then obviously his sections and stuff like nights and weekends, one for the road, things like that.
The Bodega Boys video.
Video. This is going to be controversial. I prefer Mike's videos to the Bodega Boy videos. I don't know why. I don't know does Jeremy edit them maybe?
I think the last one was, I think Jeremy did most of the work on the last one.
I feel like there's a stylistic element that even though it's essentially the same group of people or has quite a few of the same cast members, there's just something about Mike's videos that he does on his own or with Augusto Castillo that I prefer to the Bodega Boy stuff. I can't put my finger on it, but yeah. Yeah,
I mean, all those guys are so talented, and they're like both skating wise, both filming and editing wise, and then they're like professional jobs that like I think they're all just sort of passing the files around and passing like, hey, can you color correct this? Or hey, you want to touch up the editing here? You want to do some audio editing on this? Hey, do you mind doing a second pass on this? Just tighten things up. And at this point, who knows how many people have like actually touched it by the time it like makes it to like, I don't think it's just one person anymore. So, but yeah, you're right. But also I haven't like noticed a distinctly different style from Mike's on the most recent Bodega Boys video. But also I wasn't watching them back to back or anything.
Yeah, if someone actually asked me what the differences were, I couldn't describe it. There's just there's a feeling about Mike's full length and the stuff that he's made with them skates, obviously, that I definitely feel just more of emotional attachment to than the Bodega Boy stuff. But again, I can't actually say why, so that's not helpful in any way.
Well, just knowing that there's something there is at least a starting point. So, is it helpful? Maybe to someone who really cares. Maybe to Mike.
Mike does not care what my opinion is in this. He's probably like, yeah, very good. You're a hack. Like, shut up.
Well, no comment.
And he would be correct, and that's perfectly fine. It's all right. Mike and I have had these discussions. He knows. That's fine.
Responding to every text, "You're a hack. You're a hack. You're a hack."
Well, that's more of just he lets me know. So you said that you've been filming stuff with Anne. Are we ever going to get a promo for this frame, or are we going to wait until the frame's discontinued and then you're going to release footage for it, or are you just not adhering to that traditional trope of?
I'm filming for it. It's just slower going than I think anyone wanted. You can see I actually have the footage up right now. I was going through it. So Ant sent me some clips this morning. I was going through and doing some color correction on, and it's happening. It's just happening slowly. Everyone has adult jobs now, and people are skating on the weekends, and it's hard to just like go out, and especially the way that I skate, I'm often like, it takes me 20 tries to get something, and then I won't even like it. Like I'll see the clip at the end of the day, and I'll go, nah, no, I'm not going to use it. And so I've like already, I have half the stuff we've shot together in a folder that I'm just not going to use.
Pretty sure you just described every rollerblader ever there. It takes me like 20 tries, and then when I land it, I don't even like it. You just that's so many.
No,
so many.
I wish that was not the case. I wish I was just like excited to put out like, here's the trick that I did. A lot of people are, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. But I just like, it has to be the right clip because I'm annoying.
Okay. I mean, you're definitely annoying. There's no argument there.
For sure.
So obviously you're approached by the New Everything company, and you get a frame with them. Have any other companies approached you and like, or like sent you product, or like, because there's a lot of brands out there that, yeah, they don't care if you film a section for them or appear or like go on a team trip or do this, or they just want representation. They want people wearing the brands. I know that them skates do it. They've got quite a lot of people who they just send skates to. Like, have you ever got like skates from them or like products from any other company where they're just like, we like what you do, here's some of our stuff?
Them's never sent me skates, but I am a part of something coming out fairly soon, so I can at least say that it's a thing coming soon. That's all I'll say about it.
Because I was curious if you were going to get announced with Standard. I thought that would have been an interesting. I thought that would have been. Yeah, I thought you would have maybe fit into that, the kind of aesthetic that they're going for quite well.
I don't have any facial hair, unfortunately.
This is true. True.
Well, I don't know if I'll make it onto the team. No, I did. I ordered the skates though. I'm excited to try them, but no, I'm not on the team. Not being that would be. I would be very surprised to find out I was on the team. Yeah, I've talked to Lawrence that I could count the times on one hand that we've actually spoke, but seems like a great guy. I'm excited to see what he's doing. Seems like he cares a lot about his product. And I've really liked all the brand direction too that Stefan's done for Standard. I think it's really good. Some companies have talked to me before, and I considered them, but I didn't. And I'm probably not going to name names. Sorry, that seems rude. But yeah, I am going to be a part of something early next year that is coming out. And that's all I'll say about that. But
so it's not a skate company. It's not a frame company. So it's a wheel company. Oh,
I don't know about that.
I do know what it is. Yeah, you've just jogged my memory. Yeah.
I've jogged your memory.
Yes, you have. I know that there's a definite Texas connection involved, and yeah, I'll say no more than that. I won't. You won't. You don't want to say it, so I won't say it.
I'm not sure that you are actually talking about the thing that I'm talking about, and I think I know what you're talking about.
Okay. We're speaking in absolute riddles now, so let's move on to something else. Fair enough. How did we get talking the other week and we ended up discussing about my distaste for the blank skate? What was the discussion there? And you led me to believe. I can't remember.
I like that skate.
You like it?
Yeah.
I think
you posted a screenshot of maybe Tom being like, buy these skates.
That was
and you were like, buy as much or something. That was the
no. I was like direct. I was like, that's some direct marketing right there. Yeah.
Yeah. Which also, I respect it. Whatever. I have the blanks. I skated them. They're right here. The main reason I stopped skating them was because I was getting a pain in my inner upper cuff.
Okay.
Right here. So I was skating with Intuition liners, and I think it's a really stiff skate. Have you skated it or just?
I bought a pair and lasted less than 2 hours and was so devastated with the purchase that that was.
What was your hang up about them?
I skated the 909 before it, and 909's obviously got a raised heel, and I feel like good energy transfer and like the medium fit my foot perfectly. Like my toe came right up to the edge of the shell, had the Intuition V2 in it, and then I put that on and I was like, it's a flat skate, but it's a flat skate that's got a heel pad built into it that still keeps the skate flat, which makes no sense whatsoever, because every skate that you see that's designed for speed or distance all has a raised heel, because that's the best energy transfer format. You've maintained a flat foot but put a heel pad in, so if anyone puts any weight on the heel instantly does this, which means that you constantly feel skating uphill. So it's basically you're skating one way, but the skate wants you to go in a different direction. And I'm like, it's basically not helping with forward projection in any way. In fact, it's inhibiting it. And I found just the act of skating like unpleasant.
Really?
Like before you even got into grinds and stuff like that, I was like, just skating around in this doesn't feel nice. It feels like the skate is like actively slowing me down. And I tried to explain it to someone and they were like, nah, you just hate heel pads. And I was like, yeah, but you can't take it out. It's built into the design of the skate and it's got a unique shape that if you take it out, your heel is going to hurt. They put on the skate and rolled around and they were like, I know exactly what you mean. It feels like there's an invisible force pulling the skate backwards. I was like, yeah.
I had
long story short, I feel like it's got terrible energy transfer and I didn't enjoy skating it.
No, I don't think that those complaints are misguided at all. I had like a hard insole under my liner, so I think I was maybe experiencing a little less of that. I was getting a little less bend than you were because I had a rigid plastic support underneath the liner, so that makes sense. I didn't try them without super feet in, so maybe that was why I had a better experience than you did. But I like my skates really tight and stiff, and it's a pretty stiff skate, so I liked that aspect of it. I cranked them down because I like it cranked down, and that combined with the stiffness was giving me some inner ankle pain, inner like leg, I guess it's calf, right between the ankle calf nether area that we shall not name, and that was I had to stop because I was getting consistent pain there, and because I just don't want to skate any other liner than Intuition liners. So I never even tried the blank liner. Could be great.
That was one element I was surprised of. I tried the Intuition liner in it, and I felt like the blank liner fit the skate better. I felt like it filled it out better and felt more the Intuition one felt more uncomfortable with because I was like, maybe if I just change the liner, I'll enjoy it more. And I was like, nope, that's making it quite sore actually. Nope.
I mean, that could have been my problem. And maybe I'll put them on again someday when these skates run out of life. When the puke, is that what you called them?
What was that?
You called them a pile of puke. My brain does.
The swirly puke. Yep.
Yeah, I think those are valid criticisms. It's unfortunate that they don't have like a hard heel pad replacement that you can take out the squishy one and put in, just like make it a flat bottom skate. That would be prudent of them to do. And I didn't love the 45 strap on it. I didn't love looking down at it. I thought they weren't great to look at down on my feet. But that might change with different color skates. Who knows? I didn't try the pigeon ones.
Okay, sure. I mean,
I don't know. I'm trying to be positive about it.
The aesthetic's still the same. It's just a slightly different color. Very slight.
Yeah, maybe the experience of hitting your eyes is different.
Right. I mean, we've learned, if anything, the thing that we can take away from this podcast is that your choice of what is aesthetically pleasing with a skate is not valid and shouldn't be trusted by the general consensus.
Hey, you're not the first person to tell me that.
You've gone for the two least popular releases from them skates so far as your chosen weapons.
I think the blue was the most unpopular.
The blue seems to have been. I feel like I'm getting trolled by them skates adverts on social media. Every time I open up Instagram, I'm like, wow, another few adverts. Every time I open up Facebook, wow, I'm like, this is everywhere.
Yeah, they went hard, it looked like, on the Facebook ads.
They went too hard.
Yeah, I saw a lot of them, which is why I thought they were not selling well, because I thought if you're pushing something that much, it must not be selling.
True, but they're also doing it with the basement ones now as well. Like I saw the Clark's adverts, but now like I'm just regularly seeing Sean Kelso everywhere, and I'm like, all right. Like I feel like, yeah, it didn't. I thought that was out of everything they've released over the past 12 months and even beyond. I'm like, that's probably my favorite release out of them.
Yeah, I think they're a great looking skate.
Um, but yeah, either that or they're just on a really big drat, or they have money to burn, so they're like, let's just take over social media with adverts. But it seems it has the effect of making the consumer think that they're not selling well, which is
Yeah,
it's everywhere, but has a negative connotation.
yeah, but I think only to us, right? Like, because I think other people who see them are like, only because advertising like that is not really done in rollerblading. Like, no one's really paying for ads because it's like such a niche market.
Yeah,
But if you're really trying to appeal to like outside markets, that's really what you're going to be doing, is like putting up ads. So I'm not sure what their ad spending and target markets look like, but who knows? They might have been selling fine. They might have
although
just been like trying to reach a wider audience than just like the core aggressive skaters who are already going to buy them skates anyway.
this is true, and there's a very realistic possibility that John just knows something we don't, because you're not even a pro skater, and I run only a moderately successful podcast. So what do we know?
The two people who listen to this are going to stop right here when they realize that we're just schmucks.
This
Both
is
of us.
true. Hacks, hacks.
Oh yeah.
That's
Well,
it.
you're a hack. I'm just a schmuck.
This is true. The schmuck and the hack. No,
There's
that's
our
not.
second podcast. No, okay, yeah.
That name's not. That name's not. That could catch on. That could be
What about a schmuck star as a grind?
schmuck star.
Yeah,
I mean, can't get any dumber. So
I think it is dumber. So that's a win.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you should not release this.
No, this is the very reason why I should, because it's entertained me greatly and made me laugh quite a lot, which is all I really want from these things. So if it makes me laugh, I'm sure somewhere out there in the darkest depths of Omaha, Nebraska, some really bored person is going to watch this and find it moderately entertaining.
I just can't imagine that happening.
Well,
Can't imagine it.
just wait till that comment section lights up, and then I'll be like, Mike, I was right all along. You know nothing. Told you.
Wow, then I'll be the schmuck. Wait, no, I was always the schmuck. Then I'll be the hack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Hack star. That has like a horror film connotation.
Yeah, it has a kind of slasher horror feel.
How about a slasher? Slasher grind?
True, but in Scotland, I don't know if that's the thing in the US. In Scotland, going for a slash means going for a piss. So
it's still sort of on theme.
yeah, true, yeah.
Splosh star, huh?
Oh, there's many elements of pornography that appeal to me. That is one that very much does not. If anything, that grosses me out quite a bit.
I wasn't trying to cater to your specific erotic interest. I was just trying to rename a trick something stupid.
Oh, that's why I can't go with that name,
Oh, okay.
because of the
Keep doing that
the
specifically.
personal negative implications. Yeah.
Or whatever.
Right. So now that we've degraded into talking about pornography, I think that's I think that's a good point to round this off. Also, how long have we been going? Oh, we've been going over 2 hours. That's definitely, yeah.
You're gonna edit this down, right?
I am absolutely not.
Fuck, man.
In fact, I'm going to find your most uncomfortable moments and I'm going to remix them into a medley, and that's just going to be the promo for it. And the points where you're silent, I'm going to slow-mo those down to like 30%. And then preserve the pitch. It's going to be a beautiful thing.
Well, you know what they say. Hold on, I have to pull it up. It's going to be a minute. You know what? Never.
So we'll look forward to seeing the promo for the new Everything frame. There's obviously your new skate sponsor that you're not telling us about yet, and then there's the wheel sponsor. Basically, you're going to be a fully stacked professional in 2024 with
Making stuff up.
a 360-degree sponsorship deal. And I can say that I interviewed you
Take a go for a sponsorship
when you weren't even a legitimate pro skater.
Okay, I know you're trying to predict this is not a good because you chose a terrible person to have a podcast with. That's on you. That's not on me. That's all on you.
I stand by my decision.
Um, what do you personally, because you asked me what I consider a pro skater, well, sort of indirectly, that was the underpinning of the question. What do you consider to be a professional skater?
I would previously have said it was someone who essentially kind of makes a living, but then no one really makes a living from it now. So I would say in the 90s, it was much easier to define. You're like, oh, that your job is being a skater. You're in the magazines and the videos, you have pro skates, yada, yada, yada. Now, most pro skaters have full-time jobs. Like, obviously, you've got people like Brosco who doesn't, but you've got Sean and Colin Kelso, who are arguably two of the most influential people in rollerblading right now. Both of them have full-time jobs that are not rollerblading.
Yep.
And the list goes on and on and on. And then you've got people who try and make it work with like competition earnings, people like Julian Cadeau, who has pretty much won everything in the last 12 months, apart from Better Code. We don't talk about Better Code. That's very upsetting for him. He doesn't want that mentioned. Or people like Joe Atkinson, who just kind of somehow make it work and travel about. But the fact is, they're not making a living off it. They don't have any savings. It's not a financially viable option. They're just making it work. They're surviving. So I would argue that the concept of being a pro skater isn't necessarily even a real thing. I believe it's probably an out-of-date construct that doesn't really apply to our industry at the moment. It applies to the skateboarding industry or snowboarding or skiing or something where people do make a living off it. I would say in ours, it's so rare for that to be a possibility that I don't think the concept necessarily exists in our sport. Or if it does, it's a concept that we've kind of fictionalized in a way. We're like, oh, they're a pro skater because they've got a pro skate and a pro wheel, or they appear in these videos with other. I would say they aren't pro skaters; they're influential skaters. They have notoriety. I wouldn't necessarily say you're professional. Professional means you get paid.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, because it's factual, I have to agree with it. Yeah, which is why but we all sort of understand there's like a tier system and some belong in it and some don't. And I think sort of like mapping that is what I'm interested in hearing you talk about. And not just you specifically. I would be interested to hear many people talk about this because I have feelings about it that I haven't like thought about enough to like put into words or sort of like at least concisely express, but everyone seems to like understand. If you were like sitting around, it's like a sort of a fun game at like if you're just drinking with friends to be like, does he belong in the A tier, the B tier, the C tier? You know?
Yeah.
And then
I think that would be easier to define. I think that tier system, because you could apply it to other sports like football, where you've got, or like in the States, you guys have like American football, you've got first string, second string, did it like substitute kind of things. And you can definitely apply that model to rollerblading. You can definitely go, well, these guys are the stars. These guys, they're well known. They've got a lot of skill. That's undeniable that they belong in the same ballpark, but they're not here. They're not here. And then you've got these people who, they can do impressive stuff, but
yeah,
it's like the difference between like a really good skater and a great skater. A really good skater can do impressive stuff. A great skater can do whatever they want. And it's like that kind of.
So there's okay, that's a good thread to follow. What do you think it is? Do you think it's image based, that because there are so many really talented skaters who don't rise to the like the pantheon of like greats or whatever in rollerblading, who are like undeniably talented, but just don't have the for whatever reason. There's a French word for it that I can't recall in this moment, and I wanted
Je ne sais quoi.
I was just going to make a series of J and V sounds, but that sounds pretty
okay. Well, there's that discussion going on. Like, when was it? Was it last year? And there was basically like Julian Cadeau didn't get Skater of the Year, but yet won these competitions, released these sections, and there's arguments for in rollerblading image and marketing plays such a huge, because there's skaters who've had like 5, 6, 7 pro skates who aren't even in the top 200, 300 of rollerbladers, like not even close. Like, their skills are incredibly limited, quite small. There's some of them that can only literally skate a down rail. They can't do anything. You can't even take them to a ledge. They can't skate ledges. Or like, but they're kind of, their name and their brand and the excitement about them and this kind of mystique has been created by, lots of different cultural elements. And like with the Julian thing, Julian has never had like one of those like iconic video parts where people are like, oh, do you remember his section? And like, and then rattled off a famous VHS. He was one of, in recent years, all his sections are either filmed on phones or GoPros or just shoving a camera in some random guy's hand and going film. And you can tell by the quality of it, it doesn't look as if any thought has gone into it, apart from him doing insane skating.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's kind of crazy to think that Julian is very rarely, when people talk about the greatest skaters of all time, Julian is very rarely in that conversation. Yet his skill is undeniably in that, very much at that level. Like, he's been appearing in pro competitions for over 2 decades and winning pro competitions for over 2 decades, but he's not considered in the same class as like an Aragon or a Haffey. Mm-hmm. When there's a very real potential that he's won more major events than both of those guys.
Right, but it's not about winning events, right? Because it's not just about...
True, but it's just quite interesting when you think about it, like, because they go, oh, like, people regularly throw out stuff like, oh, Brian Aragon was one of the best competition skaters of all time, and then you're like, it's very possible that if you actually look at their wins, Julian's probably got more. It's just Brian had those big moments, and Brian chose his sponsors carefully. K2 approached him and he's like, my career's not going to go anywhere with K2. Razors approached him and he's like, that's one of the most iconic pro teams of all time right now. If I join them, that's my ticket into becoming a superstar in this. And he understood that. Whereas if you don't follow those, like Julian was pro for USD for years, won events, released sections. They didn't do anything with them. He ended up getting a pro skate with a brand that, let's be honest, never had any momentum or excitement about it. So it's like he never even had a pro skate.
Yeah. I didn't know he had a pro skate. So.
Exactly. Like he had a pro skate with a French brand called Trigger.
Right.
There weren't even really that many. Like, I think I've seen less than 5 times like people in real life even wearing them. So I think, but then people regularly name other skaters that if they went head to head in street, he's probably going to destroy them.
Oh, for sure. I watched that guy skate street in person recently.
So, so like there's a lot of it is to do with, the way you market and present yourself.
But so that's an interesting aspect of it, is like the celebritydom versus the actual skill level. Yeah. Because we all know that there are, like, you were talking about John Elliott. John Elliott's like so revered, but like skill wise, not exactly on par with some of the others of his era.
That's exactly my point. Like, someone who people will refer to him as their favorite skater of all time and get very defensive if you say anything otherwise. But yet you could literally easily name 200 people that would ruin him.
Right. But I guess no one's arguing if John Elliott's a pro skater or not, but he's beloved in a way that, like, definitely that, and like his name would be mentioned if you talked about the greats, certainly, even though it didn't really hold up over time, at least like difficulty wise. I think the style is still there, minus the slap in the ground that you mentioned. Someone like Gonzo was incredible style, incredible trick selection. I don't think he's in the top tier, just partly for image reasons. he didn't get a skate until well after he deserved one, and also it wasn't even the skate he skated. It was like the
Yeah,
UFS.
it was very strange, but it wasn't. Yeah,
Yeah,
was it even a?
incredible skater. Never got the accolades he deserved. Um, I don't think he's in like the top tier, and I'm just sort of like, what is it exactly that like? How do you become that person? Is it how do you become that kind of celebrity? How do you get from B to A or whatever tiers? And I'm not
I
trying to navigate it or map
oh
it for myself. I don't
well,
want it to seem like that. I'm not trying to figure out the crack the code or
there
anything. I'm
is
just
no, there is different elements of it that have worked. Like, as in, for example, there's just been a perfect storm where you mentioned the Jeff Stockwell, Carl Sturgis thing. Carl was coming up at the same time as Jeff, but Carl was coming up for his videos and Jeff was coming up for his skating. They just so happened to be best friends. Carl essentially became the filmer of all Jeff's footage. So it was like this perfect merging together of I'm basically going to present you to the world. And Jeff was the talent and had the intelligence to know that he needed to create an image for himself or it wasn't going to go anywhere. I also think there has to be a kind of industry want for that person to progress. Like, I feel like when Brian Aragon came along, like, or like Happy came along, like brands went, we've got something here. We can do something with this guy. I feel like the brand has to want to push the skater as well. Like, loads of people over time have said, oh, like Brian Shima made razors. Well, that true, but you could also have argued he'd have been very influential if he stayed on USD. But the fact is, he took that risk to go over there to be the face of a brand rather than compete with people like John Julio, Dustin Latimer, like Josh Pitt, huge. Whereas he went, I can make this brand in my image. And he had a brand that at the time wasn't that popular and needed a face. And he gave them that. And in return, they gave him the infrastructure to become a superstar. So it's like a mutually beneficial relationship. So I think there's many cultural aspects that kind of go together, and the same formula that works for one skater doesn't work for another one. It's a very unpredictable pattern, which again,
right. But so that's, I guess, what is the common thread between all of the A tier, which I guess we'd have to like name. We'd have to actually sort of map out before that made that question any specifically useful question.
a mixture of talent, influence, and capturing a specific moment in time. But then you get anomalies that transcend that. People like Alex Brosco, who's managed to keep staying relevant.
Mm-hmm.
But not many people have managed that. And even the people that have stuck around, like, their star status over time has diminished to the point where they're not even really considered like legendary. They're just people who are still around. Whereas there's certain people who continue to have influence, and that's because they understand how to keep appealing to like a new generation.
Yeah, that alone is. I wonder who new skaters A tier are. Like, I wonder what it's like to start skating now, because I just, there's some 15-year-olds in town who have been coming out and skating oh god, I'm supposed to be there. I'm supposed to go to the Heath's DIY in a minute. I'm half an hour late, but there's some, yeah, they're probably there right now. It's incredible. Hey guys. They've been coming out and they're like so excited to talk to me about tricks and like ask me about how to do grinds and what grinds are called. And I'm like, I wonder like what it's like for them right now. Like, I wonder who they see and are like, that's the one, that's like the person. And like, it's just so weird to see. It's so weird to imagine, because I feel like skating is in a great place, like as an activity, and the stuff that creatively, I think it's like really maybe the best place it's ever been, because things are super stylish. They're still interesting. All kinds of skating exist now. It's not just rails. It's not just switch ups. Like, everyone's doing everything. We all have access to it at all times. And that's so cool, because you can really pick out what you want to see in a way that you couldn't necessarily before. But that also like makes it a little more confusing because no one's in charge, right? There's just like, there's like no one, like there's not like BMAG or something being like this is the skater of the month or something. There's no like, what's the word?
I know what you mean. Like I kind of, well, the last kind of existing example I can think of is like a Daily Bread, like a Bible that people go, oh, they're
Right.
in this, they must be the real deal.
Right. Someone who's like the tastemaker, someone that's deciding what is in or is not in. And that doesn't exist anymore, and that's probably great, like generally for the sport, because everyone has the freedom to do whatever they want, and that's great, and that's like it's liberating because no one I don't want to go do switch ups on a handicap rail, you know. But at the same time, it sort of feels like a big chaotic like world without
Structureless.
it's structureless in a way that despite all I've said about loving uh, not having structure is a little um oh, really thought this would be one of those moments where I like brought it all together at the end and said something insightful and concise. This is not one of those moments. um Rollerblading feels structureless now because it just exists on Instagram and references to YouTube in a way that it just feels like we're throwing a ton on the pile, and there's like no curation of it in a way that is guiding. You know what? Let's talk about Fresh Prince of Bel Air.
I like the reference I always think of is like with rollerblading, there is, but there's just so much, and it's like, where do you start? And it reminds me of when you discover a band. Say you hear a song on the radio and you go, "Ah, that was shit hot," and you like Shazam it or whatever. And you discover who it was, and you're like, "Oh, never heard of those." And then you look at their catalog, and you're like, "Fuck, they've got 20 albums.
Yeah.
Where do I even start?"
You're
And then
telling me they smashed pumpkins? Are you kidding me? Who are these rock stars?
like yeah, like so, and I I'm very guilty of this. If I discover an artist and I look at them and they've got more than like 2 or 3 albums, that I have to like figure out which ones are the best examples of their music, or like, and you can listen to an album and then listen to it and it doesn't even sound like the same band, and you're like, oh, this is, see, if the back catalog's too big, I do find it really off-putting, and I'm like, I don't want to invest the time and like try to figure
Really?
out. I like it when they've just got one album because it makes it really easy to determine whether or not you like them.
Yeah, it's a big problem for you.
Whereas if you've got like Brian Jonestown Massacre or whatever, for example, and you discover them later, they're so hugely prolific that you're like getting to the bottom of what is actually your sound, or like what is what is like most like typically you, is that it would take forever to figure out. And I'm like, this is, I imagine some people would love it and go, this is brilliant, there's so much to like consume here and ingest, and that's, whereas I find it the total opposite. I'm like, no. And I think that's could be some people's experience of rollerblading. They just go, there is what, okay, there's quite a lot of history now, and there's so many skaters, and oh, people keep talking about goats. Who are all these goats? Why is the list of goats never ending? The list of goats seems to be going into the thousands. Surely there can't be that many goats. This doesn't make sense.
Let all these goats in.
Yeah, like you can't be the greatest all time and there'd be so many of them. That contradicts the point of them being the greatest of all time. But yeah,
But there are a lot of goats, is the thing. But the thing is that they're all great at different things because you can do a lot of stuff on rollerblades.
it's true. This is true.
Yeah.
You can do really clever, intricate tricks, and I can fall. So there's a scope.
I do love falling.
I'm better at it than you. I promise you that. Mine just look so much more violent.
I pulled a muscle doing a Royale 2 days ago, so I don't want to hear it.
Okay.
I went, whoa! And then I went, oh.
Well, no one asked you to do the Mexican wave while doing a grind. That's on you. Don't try and combine activities.
The Mexican wave?
You don't know that? The Mexican, what is it? And is it like, I don't even really watch any organized sports, but in Mexican waves where they all go away, and it goes all around the stadium and they do it, and like it goes round in a.
I've never heard it called Mexican wave. I've always just called it the wave, but maybe my proximity to Mexico has just it's a silent
I think it was
word.
maybe like a World Cup thing. I feel like it was like a World Cup phenomenon that was maybe start. There's probably some racial connotation to it that I just don't even know, and I've said something offensive. If anyone knows why the Mexican wave is called the Mexican wave, yeah, let me know.
You're out of here, bud. You're a hack.
Cancelled. Between this and talking about female adult entertainers, I'm done. Also, you're now late for a skate session.
Yeah, whatever. It's gonna be dark soon anyway.
It's getting so much darker. You had like the sunlight coming in. Now the sunlight is not coming in.
Do me a favor. Don't release this.
No, that is 100. This is going to be the greatest hits.
We can do a better one tomorrow. I'll take the day off. We'll do it tomorrow.
We can't capture the same magic. The magic is here and now with us. Think of a witty retort. You can't. So
I'm just imagining my life in shambles as soon as this comes out.
Plus, we're wrapping this up anyway because I need to get out here and get away from these intense lights that are burning my face.
Yeah, it doesn't look that bright, but
right there.
Oh, well, good for you. I could have done. I was gonna do a lot of things. I had imagined like costume changes, a screen behind me with projections going. I was going to do the sound effects. I was going to do a little laugh track every time you made a joke.
The canned laughter. I do feel like we missed something with that. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. We'll do another podcast tomorrow. Way funnier.
But you still won't have access to the questions because I'll just make up other random ones that will catch you off guard again, and then
the laugh track does most of the heavy lifting.
This is true.
All right, let's call it. I'll just accept that I made a huge mistake.
Well, we'll wait for you getting hooked up with your skate sponsor, and then we can do it again.
That probably will not happen. But hey, you know what?
Something profound. Something.
No, someone's walking in my door, and I was waiting to hear who it was. By the sound of their footsteps. I have an eye for details. Okay, we'll call it a night. Thanks for this. Thank you to anyone who made it this far. I can't imagine anyone did, but if you did, thank you. Thanks for having me on your show. It was very fun talking to you, despite the fact that I had said almost nothing in about 2.5 hours. So
I would beg to differ, but okay.
All right, let me know. Show me the highlights because I will not be watching this twice.
Well, then you won't ever have to worry. As far as you're concerned, it doesn't exist.
No, I know you're going to post about it. Just don't post. Just don't tell anyone that we did this. You can put it on YouTube. Just don't tell anyone about it.
Okay, I'll try my best. Like your music career. You can do it. Just don't let anyone know.
No one has any idea I put out 3 albums.
I'm going to dedicate my life to figuring this out.
There's probably some way to do it.
Well, there is. There definitely is. And I will find a way.
All right. I can also just send you some music. It doesn't matter.
That would be better. Yeah.
I'll send you some music if you don't post this. How about that?
I'll think about it.
Well, then you don't care. That was what I would say if you said no, but you said maybe, so we'll see. All right. Have a good night.
Right. Bye.